Phoenix Nights. Chapter 1209. Lin Feng walked towards a small path on the left. The path was dirty and messy, and there were shops on both sides. The people here were dirty and smelly, and they gradually surrounded Lin Feng. "The fifth shop on the left," the mysterious voice said again. Lin Feng sped up and entered the fifth shop before the people around him could surround him. Inside the shop, there were all kinds of shelves in a disorderly manner. There was a dazzling array of things on the shelves. "Huh! What kind of bone is this?" Lin Feng's attention was immediately attracted by a bone palm. There was a bone palm on the shelf. It was purplish black, and it was the first time Lin Feng had seen such a bone palm. Lin Feng looked closer and found that there were many runes on the bone palm, which surprised him. Could it be a treasure bone? Some powerful cultivators or beasts would have a treasure bone imprinted in their bodies, and the runes on the treasure bone would record some powerful spells. Lin Feng looked at the runes on the bone palm, but they were not connected. He stretched out his hand and opened the fingers, continuing to look at the runes until he finished reading the contents of the first finger. Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. He had finally connected a part of the contents. The runes on the bone palm seemed to record some powerful spell. Lin Feng guessed that it was a palm technique. Just as Lin Feng was about to open the 5 palms, a voice came from behind him. Suddenly, "Kacha, Kacha, Kacha!" That hand grabbed Lin Feng's wrist. Then, a powerful force surged out of the bone palm, and it seemed to want to break Lin Feng's wrist. The more Lin Feng struggled, the tighter the bone palm grabbed him. The bone palm seemed to have a life of its own. It had just fallen asleep, but now it had awakened. "So strange. If you don't let go, I'll burn you with heavenly fire." Lin Feng's left fingertip was surrounded by a flame. The bone palm seemed to have a life of its own. Feeling the terrifying temperature of the heavenly fire, it quickly released Lin Feng's right hand. "What an evil bone palm!" Lin Feng hurriedly left the position of the bone palm. He didn't dare to touch anything else. This shop gave him a gloomy feeling, which made Lin Feng feel quite uneasy. "Is anyone there?" Lin Feng asked. But his surroundings were empty, and there was no sound to answer him. "Didn't you call me over? Why don't you show yourself?" Lin Feng frowned and looked into the depths of the shop. It seemed to lead to the back, but he didn't know where it led to. He cautiously walked into the shop. At this time, a mirror placed in the southwest corner of the shop suddenly flashed with waves of light. Finally, the image in the mirror gradually became clear. A hazy figure appeared in the mirror. "I was the one who called you here," the mysterious existence in the mirror said. Lin Feng frowned. Surprisingly, a mirror was talking to him. That was too strange. What kind of mirror was that? "What the hell are you?" asked Lin Feng. "I am the mirror of the future," said the hazy figure. "The mirror of the future?" muttered Lin Feng. The word future had many meanings. Who would dare say that they could see the future? But this mirror was called the mirror of the future? How strange. "You said that I'm a descendant of sinners' blood. What do you mean? If you can't explain it, I'll crush you today so that you don't confuse people." Lin Feng looked coldly at the mysterious figure in the mirror. "Young man, don't be so hot-tempered," said the mysterious figure in the mirror. "Your name is Lin Feng, and your father is Lin Beitian. Your mother—" Suddenly, the mysterious figure in the mirror stopped talking. "What happened to my mother?" asked Lin Feng nervously. In his heart, he was starting to believe the mirror. Because the mirror had just said his name, his father's name. Lin Feng needed to confirm whether the mirror was really capable or not. "Your mother came from that race. It's a cursed race. It's a race that can't be spoken of. I can't speak of it either. If I speak of it, I'll be punished by the heavens," said the mysterious figure in the mirror. After a pause, he continued, "And now your mother is suppressed in the depths of the starry sky world by the 9 heavens god-burying coffin. I know that you want to save her, but the starry sky world is so big. You don't know where she is suppressed. Even if you become a god in the future and can travel through the starry sky, You won't be able to find her if you don't know where she is. You know? Asked Lin Feng after taking a deep breath. Of course I know, said the mysterious figure with a smile. Since I'm called the Mirror of Future, I can naturally predict everything that will happen in the future, including everything about your parents and their fates. Take a look. As soon as he finished speaking, an image appeared in the mirror. In the depths of the starry sky world, there was a coffin that seemed to have been formed at the beginning of the world. The coffin was so huge that it was like a mountain. It suppressed a woman. It seemed to be the legendary Nine Heavens God-burying coffin. Is that my mother? Lin Feng felt a sharp pain when he saw the woman suppressed by the Nine Heavens God-burying coffin. In the distance, a battle broke out between two cultivators. Black fog rolled and attacked a cultivator in white clothes stained with blood. Father! Lin Feng cried out when he saw the man. The battle was very fierce. Lin Baiqian wanted to save his wife. But he failed. A spear flew out of the black fog. Puff! The pitch-black spear pierced Lin Baiqian's chest. No! Father! Lin Feng cried out in pain. Even though he knew it was a scene that would only appear in the future, Lin Feng was still in so much pain that he couldn't breathe. Longer! Lin Baiqian's face was pale. He walked step by step toward the woman suppressed by the Nine Heavens God-burying coffin. Husband! The woman cried out in pain. Tears of blood flowed out of her eyes. I still failed in the end. I can't save you. Lin Baiqian smiled bitterly. The black mist surged forward and a huge hand reached out from the black mist and grabbed onto the spear. He lifted Lin Baiqian up into the air and with a shake of his hand, Lin Baiqian's mortal body exploded. His body and soul were destroyed. All the images disappeared without a trace, and the mysterious existence once again appeared in the mirror. This is impossible! Lin Feng's eyes turned red. His breathing became rapid. He couldn't believe what he saw. His father had died so miserably. Don't doubt me. I am the mirror of the future. I can predict the future. This is your father's fate. The mysterious figure's voice was ethereal. It seemed to have crossed the river of time to reach Lin Feng's ears and resounded in his mind. Chapter 12:10. Lin Feng's face was pale. When he thought of his father's tragic fate, he felt like a knife was being twisted in his heart. Fate? Can fate be reversed? Lin Feng's blood-red eyes looked at the mirror of future. He couldn't watch his father die without doing anything. Lin Feng told himself. He had to change his father's fate. He had to save his father. Even if he had to pay a great price, he wouldn't hesitate. This was what a son should do. This was a responsibility that a son should fulfill. Naturally, there is a way to change your father's fate. However, you should have heard of a saying, the more you gain, the more you lose. The mysterious existence in the mirror of future spoke. Lin Feng's expression was unsettled. He naturally understood the mirror of future's words. In this world, one's gains were proportional to one's efforts. What do I need to pay? Lin Feng asked. For now, give me all the undying divine blood in your body. I will tell you what to do next, the mirror of future said. Lin Feng suddenly became vigilant. He realized that ever since he entered the shop and saw the mirror of future, everything that had happened had been led by the mirror of future. He had been following the mirror of future's train of thought. Now, the mirror of future needed him to give up his undying divine blood. If it could change his father's fate and save him, Lin Feng wouldn't hesitate to give up his undying divine blood. However, Lin Feng was still somewhat worried. What if he was deceived by the mirror of future? One shouldn't have the heart to harm others. One should always be on guard against others. Thus, after thinking through everything, Lin Feng became much calmer. He was no longer like before, when he had been blinded by the pain and hatred in his heart after seeing his father's tragic death. Don't you want to save your father? Don't you want to save your mother? Do you want to see your father die a tragic death? Do you want to see your mother suffer endless torture? The mirror of future's seductive voice sounded again. Its voice seemed to have a magical power that could make people lose themselves. Lin Feng felt his willpower gradually weakening. An intense desire welled up in his heart. He should do as the mirror of future said. Lin Feng felt that something was wrong. He took out the 9-colored illusory stone and held it in his hand. Gradually, Lin Feng regained his composure. The strong desire in his heart to agree to the mirror of the future quickly disappeared. The illusory stone had more than a dozen abilities. One of them was that it allowed one to look straight into one's heart and not lose oneself. What's wrong with this mirror? He knows everything about me? It seems like I can really foresee the future, but I vaguely feel that something is wrong. However, I don't know what exactly is wrong. Lin Feng frowned. He planned on temporarily leaving to search for Devil Lord Lan Ling. Demon Monarch Lan Ling was a regular customer of the black market, so he might have some understanding of the mirror of future. He could ask Demon Monarch Lan Ling for reference. Lin Feng turned around and quickly walked out of the shop. However, at this moment, a dense crowd of people rushed over. These people emitted a cold and evil aura, especially the dozen people at the back. They blocked Lin Feng's path. Lin Feng felt a strong aura of death from these people. Rebirth Realm. Lin Feng was astonished. There were so many strong cultivators of the rebirth layer in such a small alleyway. How astonishing! Lin Feng quickly took out the regal sword tomb and hugged it to his chest. He was cautious and vigilant. He nervously looked at these people who were constantly surrounding him. These people seemed to want to take his life. Lin Feng felt a suffocating pressure. Lin Feng knew that he was in trouble today. If these people attacked him, he might die here. Lin Feng, what are you doing here? Suddenly, a thunderous shout came from the depths of the alley. Everyone looked over. They saw Devil Lord Lan Ling, who was as strong as a bear. The people who were surrounding Lin Feng hastily dispersed. Devil Lord Lan Ling walked over and asked, "Are you all right?" Lin Feng shook his head. "Fortunately, Senior is here. Otherwise, something might have happened." "Senior, why are there so many terrifying people gathered here?" "This is Fiend Alley. These people sold their souls to the devils. They will never be able to leave Fiend Alley," Devil Lord Lan Ling said. Lin Feng's heart shook as he thought of Huiya. These people in Fiend Alley were very similar to Huiya. Huiya was unable to escape from the cursed cavern. As for the people in Fiend Alley, they would never be able to leave. "Senior, why are you here?" Lin Feng asked. "I'm looking for a very rare poisonous insect. I've searched many places but couldn't find it. So I came to Fiend Alley." "Why are you here?" Devil Lord Lan Ling looked at Lin Feng in confusion. "It's a mirror called the Mirror of Future. It summoned me," Lin Feng said. "What? That mirror appeared again? Where is it?" Devil Lord Lan Ling asked in shock. "It's in this shop." Lin Feng pointed at a shop not far behind him. Devil Lord Lan Ling rushed into the shop. "It's in the southwest corner." Lin Feng followed him in and said. However, the southwest corner of the wall was now empty. "It's missing." Lin Feng frowned. "It was here just a moment ago. It escaped." "That fiend mirror is very vigilant," Demon Monarch Lan Ling said with a frown. Devil Lord Lan Ling wanted to suppress the mirror and refine it into his own treasure. "Fiend mirror? Isn't it called the Mirror of Future?" Lin Feng asked. "No, it's the Fiend Mirror. It's a demonic treasure that connects Fiend Alley and the Fiend Realm. The Fiend Mirror is very strange. It can see through the deepest secrets in a person's heart. Everyone knows about it." "No wonder. He told me about me." Lin Feng felt a chill down his spine. Fortunately, he had taken out the 9-colored stone in time and held it in his hand. Otherwise, the consequences would have been unimaginable. "Fortunately, you weren't bewitched by him," Devil Lord Lan Ling said. "What's wrong with this shop?" Lin Feng asked. "This shop is an ominous place. It's cursed. Very few people dare to enter this place. We shouldn't stay here for long," Devil Lord Lan Ling said. Then, he left the shop with Lin Feng. Many people in Fiend Alley looked at Lin Feng gloomily, but they were afraid of Devil Lord Lan Ling, so they didn't attack. Lin Feng followed Devil Lord Lan Ling out of Fiend Alley. After they left, the demon mirror appeared, and the mysterious existence within it evilly smiled as it said, "Who would have thought that that woman would have a son? This is big news, and I'll report this to the higher-ups. I'll definitely be greatly rewarded." Swish! A moment later, the fiend mirror disappeared again. Chapter 12:11. After leaving the demon alley, Lin Feng went to many places with demon monarch Lan Ling. He also bought some rare formation materials that were hard to find in the outside world. This made Lin Feng very happy. When setting up a formation, the stronger the materials used, the stronger the formation would be. About 8 hours later, Lin Feng and demon monarch Lan Ling returned to Old Ghost's place. "This is your deity liquid. Because it's made with God's source, its effects are much better than those made with deity's blood. Therefore, I estimate that 5 drops should be enough to activate a divine artifact, 7 drops to activate a quasi-emperor weapon, and 15 drops to activate an emperor weapon. There's a total of 35 drops of deity liquid here. If you want to make more deity liquid in the future, you're welcome to look for me again." Old Ghost grinned. "If I can find deity's blood or deity's source, I'll definitely look for you," Lin Feng said. "Old Ghost, we're leaving. See you next time." Demon monarch Lan Ling waved his hand and left with Lin Feng. Back at his residence, Lin Feng arranged for demon monarch Lan Ling to stay. Lin Feng was very grateful to demon monarch Lan Ling. He knew that demon monarch Lan Ling didn't leave because he wanted to support him. Bang, bang, bang. Someone knocked on the door. "Who is it?" Lin Feng asked. "I." Sunny's impatient voice came from outside. Lin Feng opened the door. Sunny walked in and kicked Lin Feng's leg. Lin Feng hugged his leg and clenched his teeth in pain. He said angrily, "You crazy bitch! Did I offend you? Why did you kick me? You went to the black market with demon monarch Lan Ling. It was such a fun place. Why didn't you bring me along?" Sunny looked unhappy. "Who told you that? What nonsense!" Lin Feng said indifferently. "Don't deny it. I saw you guys leave together, so I followed you. But those people didn't let me in. I'm so angry." Sunny put her hands on her waist angrily. It wasn't easy to enter the black market. Only a rebirth realm expert was qualified to enter. No wonder Sunny was so resentful. Lin Feng guessed that she must have been kicked out by someone, and then vented all her anger on him. "Next time, I'll definitely bring you to the black market," Lin Feng said. "Humph humph." Sunny lightly harumphed and said fiercely, "If you don't bring me to any fun places, I'll cut off your thing next time." When Sunny said that, she glanced at Lin Feng's crotch. Lin Feng suddenly felt a chill in his crotch. Sunny was simply too valiant. Lin Feng nodded with a bitter smile and said, "Don't worry, I'll definitely bring you next time. I won't go back on my words." After much persuasion, Sunny was finally sent away. After returning to his room, Lin Feng began to adjust his state of mind. Shui Zhangxian was an extremely terrifying existence. Lin Feng didn't dare to be careless in his battle with Shui Zhangxian. In a battle of this level, the slightest carelessness could lead to death. Lin Feng was very clear about this. Time slowly passed. As it got closer to the life and death battle between Lin Feng and Shui Zhangxian, the second cultivator gathering area became more and more lively. Everyone was talking about this upcoming battle. This was enough to attract the attention of many people. Not to mention, this newly promoted sovereign genius was Lin Feng, the one who had stepped on Murong Tianshan and ascended to the heaven's proud arena. Countless people rushed over to watch this battle, including the people from the Spirit Array Master Guild, the Alchemist Guild, Jian Yudi from the Auction House, and others. Any cultivator who had time to come rushed over. Above the sea, a golden ape transformed into a young cultivator. He had come from Aolai country's Huagua Mountain. Now that he heard that there would be a battle between young experts, he was very interested. Many things in the outside world were very attractive to him. Finally, under the watchful eyes of everyone, The day of the battle between the two sovereign geniuses arrived. Bet on Lin Feng to win 1-4. Bet on Shuezhang Xian to win 1-2. Hurry up and place your bets. Even the casino was promoting this battle. However, judging from the odds, the casino's upper echelons believed that Shuezhang Xian had a high chance of winning. Therefore, Shuezhang Xian's odds were relatively low. This happened to coincide with the thoughts of countless cultivators. Most of the cultivators believed that Shuezhang Xian would win this battle. This was because Shuezhang Xian had become famous too early. He was a sovereign genius 10 years ago. Lin Feng's talent was very powerful. However, Lin Feng's rise was too short. It was indeed too difficult to compete with a sovereign genius like Shuezhang Xian who had been famous for a long time. Many people went to place their bets, and 90% of the cultivators bet that Shuezhang Xian would win. Only about 10% of the cultivators thought that Lin Feng would win. As the bookmakers, if Shuezhang Xian won, they would lose a lot of money. If Lin Feng won, they would make a lot of money. It was true that the bookmakers thought more highly of Shuezhang Xian, but the bookmakers would only be able to make a lot of money when there was an upset. Place your bets. 110 million on Lin Feng to win. Sunny came to the place where the bets were placed. 100 million of her 110 million top-grade spirit stones belonged to Lin Feng, and the rest was hers. We'll also bet on Lin Feng to win. Hua Liar, Miao Yuling, and Su Yibing also bet 10 million each. Whoosh! In the distance, Lin Feng quickly flew over and landed on the arena. Then, he closed his eyes and rested, waiting for Shuezhang Xian's arrival. Lin Feng is here. He looks very calm. I wonder if he has adjusted his condition. So what if he's in his best condition? He's far weaker than Shuezhang Xian. Yeah, this time I think highly of Shuezhang Xian. Shuezhang Xian was a sovereign genius 10 years ago. Lin Feng's talent is better than Shuezhang Xian's, but he hasn't cultivated for long. No matter how good his talent is, it's useless. He'll lose for sure this time. Many cultivators were discussing spiritedly. Boom! A tyrannical aura surged from the distance as Shuezhang Xian walked over step by step. His arrival immediately caused many people to cry out in alarm. What a terrifying pressure. Many people felt suffocated when they sensed Shuezhang Xian's terrifying aura. Shuezhang Xian walked over and looked at Lin Feng indifferently. Little boy, kneel down. Shuezhang Xian sneered. A terrifying force emerged from his body and enveloped Lin Feng. It felt like a mountain was pressing down on him. He wanted to force Lin Feng to kneel down in front of him. Chapter 12:12. Shuezhang Xian's force was extremely powerful. Many people exclaimed in surprise. Shuezhang Xian was really too strong. He wanted to force Lin Feng to kneel on the ground. Would he succeed? Countless people stared at the battle arena. Now, they didn't even blink, afraid that they would miss any details. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent as he stepped forward. The three forces of the heaven punishing battle intent, and white tiger killing intent stacked together. Shuezhang Xian's force was instantly broken by Lin Feng. He waved his right fist and swept it towards Shuezhang Xian. Shuezhang Xian was shocked. Obviously, he didn't expect Lin Feng to break his force so easily. He said indifferently, "It seems that you're not as useless as I thought. You're barely qualified to make me use part of my strength." Shuezhang Xian was really arrogant, but he had the qualifications to be arrogant. Facing Lin Feng's attack, he swept his fist over. Bang! Accompanied by a thunderous sound of collision, Lin Feng and Shuezhang Xian collided. The void trembled violently as if it was about to collapse. Lin Feng was forced to take 3 steps back by Shuezhang Xian. He was shocked. Shuezhang Xian was even more terrifying than he had imagined. In the first exchange, Lin Feng could feel how terrifying this person was. The supreme genius from 10 years ago was indeed worthy of his reputation. Great demonic fist of destruction. Shuezhang Xian stepped forward like a peerless demon god. Endless demonic chi surrounded his body. Millions of demonic light condensed on his fist, brewing into a peerless fist that directly blasted towards Lin Feng. When he punched out, the power of destruction surged out in the void, as if it was about to form a sea of destruction to devour Lin Feng. This was a powerful divine ability that Shui Zhangxian had mastered. It was abnormally terrifying. Now that it was displayed, countless people were amazed. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He was fearless as he soared into the sky and condensed the great ice technique. In the void, a world of ice condensed and sealed Shui Zhangxian within. Many people were shocked. They didn't expect such a thing to happen. Shui Zhangxian was actually trapped. This was too sudden. Now, Shui Zhangxian was sealed in ice. This was truly hard to believe. A top expert like Shui Zhangxian was going to suffer a huge loss right from the start? Lin Feng charged forward. He condensed Heaven's Splitter and sword intent. A huge blade light and sword energy shot forward, wanting to kill Shui Zhangxian. World-severing finger! Suddenly, Shui Zhangxian, who was sealed by the world of ice, let out a cold voice. He pointed with his right hand and in an instant, the entire world of ice collapsed. The world-severing finger was very terrifying. It condensed an invisible power and instantly pierced through Lin Feng's chest. Lin Feng's body flew out, while Shui Zhangxian broke out of the ice world. Lin Feng is injured. What kind of divine ability is that world-severing finger? He's actually this powerful? Rumor has it that it's a divine ability that can sever an entire world. It was created by a great emperor. A moment ago, Lin Feng used the Great Ice Technique, one of the 3,000 Great Tao Techniques, right? It was destroyed by the world-severing finger. Maybe the rumors are true. Only great emperors can create such a divine ability. Countless people gasped in astonishment. They couldn't believe their eyes. Lin Feng was standing in the air, coughing violently. That attack had injured his lungs. His face was extremely pale, and his clothes were dyed red with blood. If that's all you've got, I'm really disappointed. You're as weak as an ant, said Shui Zhangxian. He looked indifferent. He was looking at Lin Feng with disdain and disdain. He was really too strong. Now that he had injured Lin Feng, Shui Zhangxian was even more confident. Very good, you've stimulated my fighting spirit. Lin Feng stepped forwards and used his immortal body. His injuries were healing at a visible speed. Many people were astonished. That kind of body was really powerful. It could heal injuries so quickly. Milky Way destroying fist! Shouted Lin Feng in a long and resonant voice. He then jumped forwards and punched with his right fist. A boundless Milky Way world appeared in the air, but Lin Feng's fist destroyed it. World-severing finger! Shui Zhangxian looked indifferent. He was still using the world-severing finger to deal with Lin Feng's Milky Way destroying fist. That divine ability was really too strong. It was as if no matter how strong Lin Feng was, he would break it with one attack. Great defensive technique! Lin Feng smiled coldly. Talismans appeared around his body. Those were the talismans created by the Great Defensive Technique. That was one of the strongest defensive techniques of the 3,000 Great Tao Techniques. The talismans created by the Great Defensive Technique were protecting Lin Feng. When Shui Zhangxian's world-severing finger touched Lin Feng's body, the talismans were destroyed. Shui Zhangxian's world-severing finger was terrifying. It injured Lin Feng again, but most of its power was blocked by the Great Defensive Technique. Therefore, this time, Lin Feng's injuries were not serious. However, Lin Feng's Milky Way destroying fist had already arrived. Shui Zhangxian could not dodge. Bang! That punch ruthlessly landed on Shui Zhangxian's body. Shui Zhangxian looked as if he had been struck by lightning. His body was blown away. Wah! He spat out a mouthful of blood in midair. Lin Feng's attack was also very strong. Shui Zhangxian was seriously injured. Multitasking? How did he do that? Many people shouted in disbelief. When a cultivator used a divine technique, they could only condense a second divine technique after condensing one divine technique. However, Lin Feng was able to use two divine techniques at the same time. This was the legendary multitasking. Countless people were shocked. This was because Lin Feng had two primordial spirits, the main primordial spirit and the auxiliary primordial spirit. However, Lin Feng was the only one who knew the secret. No one else knew about it. Therefore, countless cultivators could not believe that Lin Feng was able to use two divine techniques at the same time. Ground shrinking. After Lin Feng sent Shui Zhangxian flying, he quickly rushed towards Shui Zhangxian. He did not want to give Shui Zhangxian a chance to counterattack. After Lin Feng arrived beside Shui Zhangxian, he directly condensed a huge lightning ball. Sky Tyrant Lightning Art. Lin Feng took out the lightning ball. That huge lightning ball directly exploded in the void. Shui Zhangxian could not dodge and was engulfed by the explosion. At the center of the explosion, the destructive energy tore the void apart. Many people were shocked. The divine technique that Lin Feng used was really too powerful. In the void, Lin Feng looked at the center of the explosion. The spectating cultivators also looked at the center of the battle. Everyone wanted to know how Shui Zhangxian was doing. Finally, the energy dissipated and Shui Zhangxian appeared. Shui Zhangxian's clothes were tattered and his hair was disheveled. His entire body was dripping with blood and there were even white bones in some places. He had suffered serious injuries, but he was not dead. "You have angered me!" Shui Zhangxian roared. Shouted Shui Zhangxian furiously. He looked at Lin Feng icily. He walked towards Lin Feng step by step. Behind Shui Zhangxian, a mysterious and ancient world appeared. In that world, experts fell from the sky one after another. It was a world where countless experts were buried. 5 Emperor Dragon Fists. Lin Feng made his move and used a supreme divine technique to attack Shui Zhangxian. Qing Emperor Emo Dragon, Red Emperor Fire Dragon, White Emperor Gold Dragon, Black Emperor Water Dragon, and Yellow Emperor Divine Dragon. 5 great emperors appeared. They stepped on 5 huge dragons and suppressed Shui Zhangxian with the world of gods above their heads. "I bury an immortal with each step!" Shui Zhangxian roared and charged towards Lin Feng. The two sides collided. When Lin Feng's divine technique collided with Shui Zhangxian's world that buried countless experts, the 5 great emperors and the huge dragons instantly collapsed. Lin Feng was even more shocked to find that he could not control his body and was quickly falling to the ground. "I buried the immortals, and now I will bury you!" Shui Zhangxian's expression was indifferent. He punched towards Lin Feng. Endless destructive power condensed. If this punch landed on Lin Feng's body, it would be enough to instantly shatter his body. Chapter 12-13. Is that the power of a martial spirit? Many people were shocked and looked at Shui Zhangxian. They realized that Shui Zhangxian wasn't using a divine ability. He was using his martial spirit. The world of immortals? Is that the legendary world of immortals? Many people exclaimed in disbelief. It was a legendary martial spirit. Immortals were ethereal. It was said that they surpassed gods and emperors. Were there really immortals in the world? No one knew, but there had always been rumors about immortals in the world. Now, Shui Zhangxian was using his martial spirit, burying an immortal with each step. How terrifying was that? It was terrifying. No wonder Lin Feng's divine ability was broken in an instant. It wasn't strange at all, as it could even bury an immortal, let alone a divine ability. Is Lin Feng going to be killed? Many cultivators exclaimed in surprise because Shui Zhangxian's attack was unavoidable. If he's killed, we'll steal his treasures. Many powerful cultivators were discussing secretly. They were probably on the same side, and they wanted to steal Lin Feng's treasures. Lin Feng had all kinds of divine abilities, the inheritance of the celestial master path, magical treasures, spiritual medicines, heavenly flames. They were enough to make many people risk their lives for him. Of course, many people were worried about Lin Feng, such as Jian Yudi, Murong Baichuan, Sunny, and the others. They were all watching the battle in the arena nervously. Shui Zhangxian's attack was about to hit Lin Feng, and it had already locked onto him. The endless destructive power was about to destroy Lin Feng's body. Boom! At that critical moment, Lin Feng's dantian flashed. The 5 black holes merged into one. The endless destructive power was swallowed by Lin Feng's black holes. You're trapped in the world of immortals. You're like a cornered beast, you have no chance of survival. Shui Zhangxian looked indifferent. He was very confident in his world of immortals. He stepped forward, and the qi in his body became stronger and stronger. It was a world formed by his martial spirit. In such a world, Shui Zhangxian's strength would increase greatly. Lin Feng, on the other hand, would be constantly weakened. Now, Lin Feng could not even stand steadily. From this, it could be seen what kind of difficult situation he was in. Lin Feng stabilized his body with great difficulty. The immortal graveyard world was very strange. It was as if there was a power that could restrict the ability to fly. This caused Lin Feng's movements to be greatly hindered. Stop your pointless struggle. It's time for everything to end. Shui Zhangxian's expression was cold. He took a step forward and threw a immortal burying fist at Lin Feng. This was an extremely heaven-defying divine ability. When combined with Shui Zhangxian's martial soul, the immortal burial world, it was simply invincible. Shui Zhangxian swept out with his fist. Countless corpses of immortals fell down and turned into dust in midair. It was truly a peerless supreme art, causing one's expression to change. It locked onto Lin Feng, wanting to kill Lin Feng. 8 trigrams! Lin Feng jumped in the air and turned into an 8 trigrams diagram. This was the inheritance of the heavenly masters. The 8 trigrams diagram could tear apart the void. Qian, Kun, Li, Kan, Jin, Dui, Sun, and Zhen were suppressed in 8 different directions. The 8 trigrams diagram spun rapidly in the air like the sharpest weapon. It tore apart the void and attacked Shui Zhangxian. Bang! The 2 sides collided again. Shui Zhangxian's immortal burying fist continued to attack Lin Feng's 8 trigrams diagram. He couldn't destroy Lin Feng's 8 trigrams diagram. Instead, he was forced to retreat. Many people glanced at each other in astonishment. Lin Feng was trapped in the immortal burial world and was being suppressed everywhere. Surprisingly, he was able to force Shui Zhangxian to retreat. Many people were astonished. As expected of the person who defeated Murong Tianxun and got onto the Tianjiao battle stage. This Lin Feng is really terrifying. Many people were astonished. They were astonished by Lin Feng's strength. This battle was becoming more and more unpredictable. Originally, 90% of the cultivators thought that Shui Zhangxian would win, but now, many of them were shaken. Lin Feng's strength was much stronger than what they had imagined. Immortal burying coffin! After Shui Zhangxian was forced to retreat, he couldn't help but roar furiously. He condensed a supreme divine ability and attacked Lin Feng's 8 trigrams diagram again. In the immortal burial world, light surged and condensed into a gigantic coffin. I have an immortal burying coffin. It can bury immortals. The immortal burying coffin descended from the sky and suppressed the 8 trigrams diagram. The immortal burying coffin was extremely terrifying. When it suppressed the 8 trigrams diagram, the void cracked. A spine-chilling aura burst out from the coffin. It was as if the coffin was actually capable of burying the immortals inside it. Bang! 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 The immortal burying coffin collided with the 8 trigrams diagram. Lin Feng's 8 trigrams diagram was blown away by the immortal burying coffin. It can bury immortals and suppress all the worlds! Shui Zhangxian roared and took a step forward. He struck out with both hands and poured endless magical power into the immortal burying coffin. The immortal burying coffin's power became stronger and stronger. The immortal burying coffin bombarded the 8 trigrams diagram again and again. After 9 consecutive collisions, Lin Feng could no longer maintain the 8 trigrams diagram. He was beaten back to his original form. His body flew out, and his face was abnormally pale. Lin Feng suffered serious injuries in the collision with the immortal burying coffin. The immortal burying coffin's destructive power was extremely shocking. I will bury your life and turn you into a speck of dust in this world. Shuezong Xian walked over step by step. He was like a death god that walked out of hell. Bury immortals. Bury all the worlds. Bury billions of mountains and rivers. Bury countless living beings. And now, he wanted to bury Lin Feng as well. Bang! The immortal burying coffin bombarded Lin Feng's body and sent Lin Feng flying. Lin Feng coughed out blood. The attack just now had caused him to suffer even more serious injuries. He was trapped in the immortal burying world and was extremely passive. Now, he was finally showing signs of fatigue. It seemed like he couldn't continue to resist Shuezong Xian's continuous attacks. Lin Feng doesn't seem to be able to hold on any longer. Is this battle going to end like this? Many people murmured because Lin Feng was too passive. They felt that this battle was about to end. I'm quite surprised that you can hold on until now. But in the end, you will be killed by me. Shuezong Xian looked indifferent. He pointed at the sky and stomped on the ground. With a wave of his hand, the immortal burying coffin attacked Lin Feng again. It's too early to be happy. Lin Feng looked indifferent. At this moment, he was walking in the void. The immortal divine blood in his body was awakening. Behind Lin Feng, an endless amount of black fog was rolling in waves. A gloomy and cold aura filled the air. What's that? Many people were astonished when they saw the black fog behind Lin Feng's back and saw an ancient stone door. Chapter 12:14. The immortal Hell's Gate stood tall in the void, emitting a tyrannical power that could distort time and space. This was the second ability of Lin Feng's immortal divine body, which was to summon the Hell's Gate. Rumor had it that this was the gate that connected the mortal world and hell. Now that the Hell's Gate had appeared, a terrifying aura surged out from it. That eerie and terrifying gate seems to be connected to a world of death. What kind of gate is that? It's so terrifying that it makes my soul tremble. Could it be connected to a world of death? Many people were discussing. Although the Hell's Gate had yet to display its divine might, many people could feel the power of death from the Hell's Gate that made their hearts palpitate. The power of death made everyone's soul tremble. That ancient stone door was simply too strange. One could vaguely see that there were many distorted runes drawn on the stone gate. Those runes seemed to depict purgatory-like worlds. In one world, cultivators were tied to fiery red copper pillars. Their bodies were cooked by the red copper pillars. In another world, the tongues of the cultivators were pulled out. In another world, the cultivators were cut into pieces. The world depicted by the runes was too terrifying. It was like the 18 levels of hell that appeared in myths and legends. It was a place where countless living beings were tortured after they died. Now Lin Feng stepped forward, and the Hell's Gate flew out. Lin Feng was like the son of hell. Under Lin Feng's control, the Hell's Gate directly hit the immortal burying coffin. Bang! The immortal burying coffin and the Hell's Gate collided. Even the void was collapsing. It didn't seem like a battle between two young cultivators. Instead, it seemed like a battle between two old antiques that had lived for tens of thousands of years. Clang! Clang! The Hell's Gate and the immortal burying coffin collided again and again. Wah! Many cultivators who were closer to the Hell's Gate couldn't withstand the sound waves produced by the collision between the Hell's Gate and the immortal burying coffin, and they vomited blood. Hurry up and retreat. Otherwise, you'll be in trouble. Many cultivators screamed in fear and kept retreating, not daring to move forward. After 36 consecutive collisions, the gate of hell shattered the immortal burying divine coffin and then suppressed Shuezong Xian. Lin Feng has gained the upper hand. Many people cried out in surprise. They had never expected that Lin Feng would gain the upper hand. Many people were shaken and found it hard to believe what they were seeing. Shuezong Xian's immortal burial world was so powerful. Lin Feng was shrouded in it and was greatly restricted. Yet, he was still able to gain an advantage. This was truly too terrifying. Bang! Hell's Gate suppressed Shuezong Xian's body. Shui Zongxian felt as if he had been struck by lightning as he spat out a large mouthful of blood. Crack! Crack! His body was cracking apart. Fresh blood flowed out, dyeing him red. In the distance, the experts of the heaven-devouring demonic toad clan looked extremely gloomy. This was not the result they wanted to see. He is unexpectedly strong. Looks like I have underestimated him. Demon Monarch Lan Ling revealed a smile. Great Elder Lin, you're amazing! Vice President Wang Chengming and the others from the Spirit Array Caster Guild sighed. Countless people were amazed. Now that Shui Zongxian had suffered a calamity, his physical body was severely injured. It seemed like he would not be able to hold on much longer. Lin Feng's mysterious stone gate was too strong. You have always acted high and mighty, full of contempt for me. Now, it seems like you are slapping your own face. Lin Feng sneered and stepped forward. He threw a punch at Shui Zongxian, wanting to kill him. You want to kill me with just you alone? Today, I will tear you to pieces! Shui Zongxian roared crazily. He was going crazy with hatred. Previously, he had looked down on Lin Feng. But now, he had been severely injured by someone he looked down on. It was hard for Shui Zongxian, who had always been arrogant, to accept it. He felt like his body was about to be ignited by the flames of anger. Shui Zongxian only had one thought now, and that was to kill Lin Feng. He had to use the cruelest method to kill Lin Feng. That was the only way to quell his anger. That was the only way to wash away the humiliation. Endless light surged out from Shui Zongxian's dantian. An ancient aura spread out from Shui Zongxian's body. Shui Zongxian was a pure-blooded cultivator. Such a cultivator was too rare. In Shui Zongxian's life, he had only activated his pure-blooded bloodline 3 times, and then killed 3 great enemies. Now, Shui Zongxian had activated his pure-blooded bloodline for the 4th time. Not good! Lin Feng's face changed slightly. He felt a terrifying aura from Shui Zongxian's body. That aura made his hair stand on end. Lin Feng knew that he must not give Shui Zongxian a chance to awaken his pure-blooded bloodline. Once the pure-blooded bloodline in his body was awakened, then it would be troublesome. Lin Feng rushed forward and threw a punch at Shui Zongxian, but it was too late. The pure-blooded bloodline in Shui Zongxian's body was awakened. Ah! Shui Zongxian roared. He was shrouded in black fog, and no one could see his appearance clearly. Shui Zongxian, who had activated his pure-blooded bloodline, was even more terrifying. He grabbed the Hell's Gate with both hands and smashed it directly at Lin Feng. Bang! The Hell's Gate hit Lin Feng's body, and Lin Feng was sent flying. Cough, cough, cough. Lin Feng coughed violently, and his face was pale. He looked at Shui Zongxian in horror. Shui Zongxian, who had activated his pure-blooded bloodline, was so terrifying that he could shake the Hell's Gate with his physical body. I will let you die in endless fear. Shui Zongxian stepped forward, and his voice was filled with endless coldness and killing intent. Lin Feng felt the danger. He quickly retreated and tore apart the Zongxian world, and finally put some distance between him and Shui Zongxian. It's useless. You can't escape. Come here. Shui Zongxian laughed. Shui Zongxian laughed strangely. His voice became hoarse and sinister. Shui Zongxian, who was in the black fog, stretched out his right hand, and a black hole appeared in his right hand. It looked like a black hole in the universe. That black hole released a powerful suction force, and it enveloped Lin Feng. Lin Feng's body flew uncontrollably towards Shui Zongxian. The Heaven-Devouring Demon Toad's bloodline ability! Heaven-Devouring Demon Cave! Many people shouted in astonishment. The Heaven-Devouring Demon Toad's bloodline ability was terrifying. It was said that it could devour all living things and steal life energy. That was the difference between the Heaven-Devouring Demon Cave and Lin Feng's Devouring Martial Spirit. Lin Feng's Devouring Martial Spirit could devour all kinds of attacks, all kinds of energies, but it couldn't steal life energy. The heaven-devouring demon toad's heaven-devouring demon cave couldn't devour other people's attacks, but it could steal life energy. Lin Feng sensed that his lifespan was decreasing as he got closer to Shuezhangxian. He originally had 11,000 years of lifespan, but very quickly, he only had 10,000 years left. Soon, he only had 9,000 years left. After devouring Lin Feng's lifespan, Shuezhangxian's qi became more and more terrifying. It was obvious that Shuezhangxian could devour other people's lifespan to increase his fighting strength. Lin Feng's face turned ugly. If this continued, it wouldn't take long for his lifespan to be completely devoured. At that time, he would die without a grave. Chapter 12:15. I'll steal your life to strengthen myself. You're just a stepping stone on my path of cultivation. You'll turn into a pile of bones and be forgotten by the world. Shuezhangxian looked cold and detached. He stepped forwards and glanced at Lin Feng with disdain, as if he had everything under control. Shuezhangxian was indeed very strong. He was extremely confident because his pure blood had never failed. In Shuezhangxian's opinion, Lin Feng was going to die just like the cultivators he had killed in the past. He was going to use Lin Feng's life to strengthen himself. Stealing life, that's really powerful. Lin Feng is going to be in trouble. That's an invincible ability. Lin Feng's lifespan won't be completely stolen, right? If that's the case, he's going to die. Many people cried out in surprise, their hearts trembling. At this point in the battle, it seemed like it was about time for the victor to be decided. Right now, the scales of this battle were tilting towards Shuezhangxian. 8 divine seals! Talismans appeared and sealed Lin Feng's body. Under the 8 divine seals, Lin Feng's lifespan finally stopped. You want to steal my lifespan? I'll beat you up first! Shouted Lin Feng furiously. 2,000 years of lifespan had been stolen from him. Lin Feng was furious. His heart was filled with killing intent. He arrived in front of Shuezhangxian and threw a punch at him. You! Shuezhangxian's expression changed because he realized that he couldn't steal Lin Feng's lifespan anymore. But Shuezhangxian quickly calmed down. He was a monster, his body was extremely strong. He wasn't afraid of close combat. He threw a punch at Lin Feng. In such a close combat situation, one punch and one kick were extremely fast. They didn't even have time to circulate their qi or use spells. It was a battle of pure physical strength. Both of their bodies were extremely strong. Lin Feng punched Shuezhangxian's shoulder and broke his bones. Shuezhangxian slapped Lin Feng's body and made Lin Feng cough up blood. In a physical confrontation, if both sides were people with extremely powerful physical bodies, it was obvious that both sides would suffer in the end. Lin Feng and Shuezhangxian exchanged more than 30 attacks. In the end, Lin Feng gradually gained the upper hand. Even though Shuezhangxian's body was extremely strong, Lin Feng's body was even stronger. Shuezhangxian was a 100% pure bloodline. The pure bloodline of the heaven-devouring demonic toad was at the divine beast level. Therefore, Shuezhangxian's body was able to contend against fiend gods. But he was still weaker than Lin Feng. Lin Feng punched Shuezhangxian's left chest. Shuezhangxian's left sternum cracked. He was severely injured. His sternum was completely broken, and some of his white bones were exposed. Shuezhangxian coughed up a mouthful of blood. His face was as pale as paper. Lin Feng seized this opportunity and rushed forward. He threw another punch at Shuezhangxian. Shuezhangxian waved his fist to block. Both of them collided once again. Kacha! Shuezhangxian's arm was broken. Lin Feng's body is too strong, isn't it? Shuezhangxian has a pure blood. His body is comparable to the body of a god or demon. But now, he is completely suppressed by Lin Feng. It's hard to imagine how strong Lin Feng's body is. Many cultivators cried out in surprise. Their faces were filled with shock and emotion. Shuezhangxian was suppressed by Lin Feng. It was indeed too shocking. Ah! Shuezhangxian's roar shook the sky. He was extremely sullen. He thought that he could easily get rid of Lin Feng. But now, he was repeatedly defeated by Lin Feng. Now, he had no choice but to retreat quickly. He had to increase the distance between him and Lin Feng. Close combat was too disadvantageous for him. Shuizang Xian was worried. If he did not quickly increase the distance between him and Lin Feng, he could be killed by Lin Feng at any time. "Where do you think you're going?" Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He was not willing to give Shuizang Xian a chance. He rushed forward and slashed at Shuizang Xian. He wanted to use this opportunity to get rid of Shuizang Xian. Shuizang Xian's method was not ordinary. He had activated the second ability of his pure blood. Beams of destructive light shot out from Shuizang Xian's body. These beams of destructive light were very terrifying. They instantly tore through the void. Lin Feng felt danger. He had no choice but to block the beams of destructive light. A tearing sound was heard. Lin Feng's body was pierced by the beams of destructive light. Blood spurted out. "That's the cosmic destruction beam. Legend has it that it's a kind of destructive light produced in the depths of the universe. It's also the most terrifying destructive force in the world. It was refined by the ancestors of the heaven-devouring demonic Toad clan and integrated into their bloodline. It's passed down from generation to generation. Every pureblood cultivator can awaken this ability. It's really terrifying. Even Lin Feng can't block it." Many people cried out in alarm. They were talking about the origin of the destructive light. Now, Lin Feng was facing an even fiercer attack from the cosmic destruction beam. The beams of destructive light seemed to be able to destroy the firmament and destroy the universe. Numerous beams of destructive light shot towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng was dodging the attacks in a very difficult manner. However, he was still unable to dodge the attacks. His body was once again pierced by the beams of destructive light. Deep wounds appeared on his body. Lin Feng was in big trouble. Is he finally going to die? The cultivators of the heaven-devouring demonic Toad clan sneered. It was as if they could already see Lin Feng dying. The Lanling Demon King and Jiang Yuti frowned. Lin Feng was too passive. They couldn't help but worry about Lin Feng. More and more beams of destructive light shot towards Lin Feng. They wanted to kill Lin Feng completely. "It's useless. You can't dodge the attacks of the cosmic destruction beam. You're destined to die." Shuizang Xian sneered. Lin Feng was walking in the void. He said indifferently, "It's too early to be happy." As soon as he said that, the 5 devouring martial spirits in Lin Feng's dantian revolved. Rumble, suddenly, terrifying waves of energy spread out from the sky. 5 huge black holes appeared. "Are those martial spirits? Why does he have 5 martial spirits?" Many people were puzzled. It was the first time they had seen such martial spirits. "I'm not sure. His martial spirits are very similar to the first ability of Shuizang Xian's pure blood. Lin Feng's martial spirits are devouring martial spirits. They can seal and devour attacks. I've seen him use his martial spirits before, but he didn't reveal his martial spirits at that time. I didn't think that his martial spirits would be 5 black holes." Many cultivators were discussing this. They were all puzzled. Why did Lin Feng have 5 black holes? It was really strange. In the sky, the 5 black holes gradually merged together. The 5 black holes fused into one. When the 5 black holes fused into one, the entire world seemed to be imprisoned. Lin Feng was standing in the middle of the black hole. At that moment, he felt as if the sovereign blood in his body had been awakened. The devouring martial spirits were inherited from the sovereign blood clan. Lin Feng could faintly see the ancestors of the sovereign blood clan standing in the depths of the black hole and looking at him. Lin Feng was also looking at the ancestors of the sovereign blood clan. Chapter 12:16. His 5 devouring martial spirits merged into one, and he stood within them, communicating with the sovereign emperor's blood in his body. This was a powerful technique that Lin Feng had comprehended after awakening the sovereign emperor's blood. The surrounding space had been completely sealed. but Shui Zhangxian was very terrifying. Although his movements were greatly restricted, he was still not sealed. Still want to put up a desperate struggle? Shui Zhangxian's expression was indifferent. He looked at Lin Feng with a sneer. Shui Zhangxian, who had activated his strongest battle strength, was extremely confident in himself. He believed that he could kill Lin Feng with the help of the Universe Extreme Destruction Beam. Asterisk swish. Asterisk dazzling light surged out. Beams of Universe Extreme Destruction Beam shot towards Lin Feng. They blotted out the sky and covered the earth. Nobody knew how many beams there were. Shui Zhangxian has launched his most violent attack. He wants to end the battle quickly. Many people cried out in alarm. Shui Zhangxian's attack was unprecedentedly powerful. Although Lin Feng had summoned his martial spirit to fight against Shui Zhangxian, Lin Feng's martial spirit did not have much attacking power. This was a well-known fact. How could he block Shui Zhangxian's attack? This was also the reason why many people did not think that Lin Feng would win. The Universe Extreme Destruction Beam that blotted out the sky and covered the earth had already arrived in front of Lin Feng. It tore through the void and destroyed the dome of heaven. Many people even thought that Lin Feng would die under Shui Zhangxian's attack. However, when the densely packed Universe Extreme Destruction Beam was about to hit Lin Feng, something shocking happened. The black hole hovering in the void emitted a black gas, which instantly destroyed all the cosmic extreme destruction light beams. The black gas descended from the sky and swept towards Shui Zhangxian. "This is impossible!" Shui Zhangxian roared in disbelief. He did not dare to believe his eyes. That was his most powerful attack, but now it had been easily destroyed by Lin Feng. This was a huge blow to Shui Zhangxian. "Shui Zhangxian, my divine ability is called the Ruler of Destruction. It's a divine ability I created by fusing my bloodline with my martial spirit. I'd like to see how you're going to block it." Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He activated the black gas with all his strength and attacked Shui Zhangxian. Lin Feng stood in the middle of the black hole and used his martial spirit to communicate with the Sovereign Emperor Blood. He activated the Sovereign Emperor Blood's power and fused it with his devouring martial spirit. He could unleash a terrifying attack that could destroy anything. This divine ability was quite heaven-defying. Of course, it was not easy to use. When Lin Feng executed this ultimate skill, he felt that the mana in his body had been consumed by 60 to 70%. His body felt weak. The more powerful the divine ability, the greater the consumption of magic power. It was clear that the Sovereign's Armageddon was Lin Feng's strongest ability. And there is no one like it. This was because Lin Feng had activated a trace of the Sovereign Emperor Blood's power. Lin Feng's mother's clan was too terrifying. They were a clan that had gone against the ancient times. Even if they could only activate a trace of the Sovereign Emperor Blood's power, it was enough to destroy the heavens and earth. The black gas pressed down. Shui Zhangxian felt a dangerous aura and quickly retreated. However, Shui Zhangxian was shocked to find that the black gas had completely locked onto him. Therefore, no matter how he tried to dodge, he could not avoid it. Shui Zhangxian's face became extremely ugly. He took out a defensive magic treasure at the pinnacle of Dao artifact level. This defensive treasure was a small 3-story pagoda. It was completely golden in color, and was called the Golden Exquisite Pagoda. It had extremely powerful defensive power. After the exquisite golden pagoda was taken out, it blocked in front of Shui Zhangxian and helped him resist the attack of the black gas. Bang! The black gas was only one pagoda and was about the thickness of a thumb. However, when it pressed down, it created a momentum that was like an ancient divine mountain falling from the sky. The attack swept across the exquisite golden pagoda. Crack! Crack! The exquisite golden pagoda instantly cracked. After blocking for a moment, this pinnacle Dao artifact supreme treasure actually shattered into pieces. "Isn't this attack a little too strong?" Countless cultivators who were watching the battle could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. That was a pinnacle defensive Dao artifact. But now, it was destroyed just like that. It was really unbelievable. However, it was the truth. Everyone had no choice but to believe it. The black gas continued to press down on Shui Zongxian. Break! Shui Zongxian took out a battle spear. It was a half-divine weapon that was stained with blood. Its power could be said to be terrifying. Now that Shui Zongxian was holding the battle spear, his spine suddenly shot up like a dragon. The battle spear in his hand swept towards the black gas. Clang! Along with the fierce attack, the battle spear in Shui Zongxian's hand collided with the black gas. Shui Zongxian was indeed powerful. The black gas was scattered. Myriad Tao firmament, destroy all worlds! Shui Zongxian roared. He was like a demon god, as if he was carrying an ancient mountain. He walked towards Lin Feng step by step. His aura was constantly rising. Shui Zongxian held the spear with both hands and charged towards Lin Feng. Shui Zongxian, it's useless. The current you has already lost the ability to fight against me. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He activated the black hole with all his strength. The black hole let out a loud rumbling sound. Then, it descended from the sky. It pressed down on Shui Zongxian. Bang! Shui Zongxian was sent flying and vomited a large mouthful of blood in midair. With just one attack, he was severely injured. He could not withstand Lin Feng's attack at all. The black hole flew above Shui Zongxian and directly pressed down on him. Shui Zongxian roared. He wanted to struggle, but there was no way for him to do so. All of his attacks were instantly broken and his body was suppressed under the black hole. The victor has been decided. Exclamations sounded one after another. Shui Zongxian's momentum was gone and he could not resist. This result was unexpected. No one had thought that in the end, it would be Lin Feng who defeated Shui Zongxian. Shui Zongxian was an existence that had become a supreme genius 10 years ago, but he was still defeated by Lin Feng. I've lost. Shui Zongxian was extremely unwilling, but he had no choice but to admit defeat. He lowered his head and his eyes were filled with endless hatred and killing intent. The hatred in his heart towards Lin Feng was like a flood that reached the sky. He hated that he could not tear Lin Feng into pieces. But Shui Zongxian knew that he had to endure. Brat, why aren't you letting him go? Shui Luanfa said with a gloomy expression. His eyes were shining with a cold light. Lin Feng put his hands behind his back and said with an indifferent expression. In a battle of life and death, the loser will be killed. You dare? Shui Luanfa shouted coldly. Why wouldn't I dare? Lin Feng sneered and raised his right hand. A ray of sword she shot out. Puff! Shui Zongxian's head soared into the sky. Chapter 12:17. Little bastard, you're courting death! Shui Luanfa roared. Shui Zongxian's death was a huge blow to the heaven-devouring demonic toad clan. Shui Zongxian was the leader of the heaven-devouring demonic toad clan's younger generation. Now that he was dead, the heaven-devouring demonic toad clan's younger generation would definitely decline. Lin Feng had killed Shui Zongxian, and Shui Luanfa hated Lin Feng to the core. Now, Shui Luanfa only wanted to tear Lin Feng into pieces. Shui Luanfa soared into the sky and charged towards Lin Feng. He opened his palm and slammed it towards Lin Feng. Humph! Demon Lord Lan Ling sneered and blocked Shui Luanfa's path. He exchanged a blow with Shui Luanfa and forced Shui Luanfa to retreat. Shui Luanfa roared. Demon Lord Lan Ling, how dare you stop me? Demon Lord Lan Ling sneered. Shui Luanfa, this is a battle of life and death between Lin Feng and Shui Zongxian. Since it's a battle of life and death, it's a battle of life and death. Shui Zongxian was killed because his cultivation was weak, and he can't blame anyone else. Now that you want to kill Lin Feng, do you have any shame? Murong Baichuan stepped forward and said, Daoist Shui, you've gone overboard today. The rules of the Tianwu continent state that outsiders are not allowed to interfere in a battle of life and death. Moreover, the members of the same sect clan, and sect are not allowed to cause trouble for the other party within 3 days. Daoist Shui, are you trying to go against the rules of the Tianwu continent? Shui Luanfao's face was extremely gloomy. The Tianwu continent did have such rules. They were not allowed to deal with the cultivators involved in a battle of life and death within 3 days to give them time to recover. Very good! Very good! Very good! My heaven-devouring demonic toad clan will remember the two of you! Shui Luanfao looked coldly at Demon Lord Lan Ling and Murong Baichuan, his words carrying a hint of threat. So what if we remember? Do you think I'm afraid of your heaven-devouring demonic toad clan? Demon Lord Lan Ling sneered. Hee, does the heaven-devouring demonic toad clan dare to go against my spirit array caster guild? Fellow Shui, you're threatening the wrong person. Although my spirit array master guild stands aloof from worldly affairs, if anyone dares to provoke my spirit array master guild, then my spirit array master guild is not to be trifled with. Murong Baichuan sneered. The power of the spiritual array caster guild was unimaginable. Their network was huge. Although the heaven-devouring demon toad clan was strong, there was still a big gap between them and the spiritual array caster guild. Therefore, when he heard Shui Luanfao's threat, Murong Baichuan was disdainful. Shui Luanfao's face became increasingly gloomy. His eyes flickered with a cold light, but he did not say anything else. On the stage, Lin Feng kept Shui Zhangxian's storage ring. Then, he flew down and left with Demon Monarch Lan Ling, Murong Baichuan and the others. Just like that, the battle that everyone had been paying attention to ended. However, it was clear that the disturbance caused by this battle was far from over. Shui Zhangxian had become a sovereign genius 10 years ago. Now that he had been killed by Lin Feng, it naturally caused a great uproar. Lin Feng had stepped on Murong Tianxin and ascended the stage. His talent was unparalleled in the world. Originally, although everyone knew that Lin Feng was very talented, many people thought that Lin Feng's cultivation time was much shorter than that of the top geniuses. Therefore, his strength could not be compared to those top geniuses. However, it was only after this battle that everyone realized how wrong their thinking was. Lin Feng was a monster. He had already caught up with the top geniuses. Lin Feng and Huangfu Qingtian still have a life-or-death battle. I originally thought that Huangfu Qingtian would definitely win this battle, but now I've changed my mind. Huangfu Qingtian is one of the top 3 geniuses. Shui Zhangxian can't compare to him. Although Lin Feng has killed Shui Zhangxian, he's almost exhausted. Therefore, he can't be a match for Huangfu Qingtian. Although he's not a match for Huangfu Qingtian now, don't forget that Lin Feng and Huangfu Qingtian will have a life-or-death battle in 4 years. With Lin Feng's talent, it's possible for him to surpass Huangfu Qingtian in 4 years. It's possible. I think that after Huangfu Qingtian heard that Lin Feng killed Shui Zhangxian, he won't be as calm as before. Maybe he'll take some necessary actions. Many people were talking about Lin Feng. Some people were talking about how the heaven-devouring demonic toad clan would deal with Lin Feng after he killed Shui Zhangxian. Some people were talking about the battle between Lin Feng and Huangfu Qingtian. Some people were talking about whether Lin Feng had a peerless expert behind him. Otherwise, how could he be so monstrous? At that moment, Lin Feng, Sunny, Miao Yuling, Hua Laia, and Su Yibing took a teleportation formation and left the second cultivator gathering area. The cultivators of the heaven-devouring demonic toad clan wanted to use a teleportation formation to chase after Lin Feng, but they were stopped by Demon Emperor Lan Ling and Murong Baichuan. What's the meaning of this? Shui Luanfa said gloomily. The teleportation formation won't be activated tonight, so you should go back, said Demon Emperor Lan Ling. You should go back, said Murong Baichuan. So you're saying that you're going to have a falling out with the heaven-devouring demonic toad clan? Shui Luanfa looked gloomy. If you think so, I can tell you that it's just as you think. So what if we have a falling out? Said Murong Baichuan with his hands clasped behind his back. He was the leader of the Union of Alchemists in the 72 provinces. Leave. Don't waste your time here. You won't be able to activate the teleportation formation with us here. said Demon Emperor Lan Ling. All right. Shuai Luanfa glanced coldly at Murong Bai Chuan and Demon Emperor Lan Ling, then left with his people. After Lin Feng's group left the second cultivator gathering area, they went through 4 or 5 other gathering areas in order to hide their whereabouts. A month later, 5 cultivators stopped outside a storm-ravaged sea and looked into the depths of the sea. Among the 5 people, there was 1 man and 4 women. The man was handsome and confident, while the 4 women were all extremely beautiful. They were Lin Feng's group. Nightmare Island should be in the deepest part of the stormy sea, but it's extremely dangerous. Not only are there all kinds of terrifying storms, but there are also many terrifying restrictions. Passing through the stormy sea and entering Nightmare Island is as difficult as ascending to the heavens, said Sui Bing. Shuai Luanfa nodded. With Lin Feng's help, passing through the stormy sea shouldn't be a problem. This place is really dangerous. Everyone, stay close to me and don't wander off, said Lin Feng. The 4 women nodded. The group of 5 didn't stop and entered the stormy sea. Not long after they entered the stormy sea, an ugly head poked out from the sea. Its cold eyes looked at the 5 people who had entered the stormy sea. Chapter 12:18. This ugly head did not belong to a human. Although it looked like a human's head, its face was covered in scales. This was the sea race. It had always been rumored that the sea race existed in the depths of the Eastern Sea, and even the Eastern Sea Dragon Palace. However, no one in the outside world had ever seen the sea race or the Eastern Sea Dragon Palace. In truth, whether it was the sea race or the Eastern Sea Dragon Palace, they did exist. But why was the outside world's knowledge of the sea race and the Eastern Sea Dragon Palace only limited to legends? There was a reason for this. First, ordinary cultivators would not enter the depths of the Eastern Sea. That was because the depths of the Eastern Sea were filled with powerful sea beasts. These sea beasts were ferocious. If you encountered them, you would definitely die. Even the top forces would not enter the depths of the Eastern Sea under normal circumstances. Of course, some of the top forces had been in the Eastern Sea for many years and knew a little about the sea race and the Dragon Palace. However, only the upper echelons of the Eastern Sea knew about the sea race and the Dragon Palace. These upper echelons were very wary of the sea race and the Dragon Palace. Hence, they would not talk about them in front of others. Because of this, the outside world knew very little about the sea race and the Dragon Palace. The sea race member quickly left and entered the depths of the sea. In the depths of the sea, there was an endless number of palaces. This was the Eastern Sea Dragon Palace. The Eastern Sea Dragon Palace was occupied by the evil dragon race. The evil dragon race was a race of the dragon race whose bloodline was comparable to the divine dragon and heavenly dragon. On the other hand, the evil dragon clan had a cruel temperament and was extremely licentious, so their reputation was extremely bad. Even the divine dragon clan, the heavenly dragon clan, and several other dragon clans that were similar to the evil dragon clan looked down on them. However, one had to admit that the evil dragon race was very powerful. Perhaps it was because of their licentious nature that the evil dragon race had many more children than the divine dragon race. Currently, there were no traces of the divine dragon race and heavenly dragon race in the Sky Martial continent. However, the evil dragon race was still flourishing. The evil dragon king of the Dragon Palace had 13 sons and 7 daughters. And now, the sea race member had come to the 3rd prince's palace. The 3rd prince of the Dragon Palace was called Ao Bing. Your Highness, there's a major discovery, that oceanic species member hurriedly said. At this moment, Ao Bing was being intimate with 2 women of the oceanic species. When he heard the oceanic species report, he stopped and asked, "What major discovery?" "I just saw 5 people enter the ocean of storms, 4 women and 1 man. I've never seen such beautiful women in my life. Even the fairies of the Moon Palace aren't as beautiful as them," said Lin Feng, shaking his head. That oceanic species member said. Ao Bing's eyes lit up. "There's such a thing? That's great. Gather everyone and follow me into the stormy ocean. The evil dragon race was so lustful. Therefore, when Ao Bing heard that 4 women who were even more beautiful than the Moon Palace fairy had appeared, how could he sit still? Yes, I'll go gather the men right away. Within the storm ocean, violent storms would sweep across the world from time to time. The slightest bit of carelessness could cause one to be sucked into the storm and face the danger of death. In addition, there were layers upon layers of restrictions here, so he had to be even more careful. Many of the restrictive spells were even more terrifying than the storm. Fortunately, with Lin Feng present, they were able to avoid the space-time storms and terrifying restrictions. They gradually ventured deeper into the storm ocean. One day, as the 5 of them were flying deeper into the storm ocean, they sensed intense fluctuations. Lin Feng's expression brightened slightly. It seems like there are cultivators fighting. Let's go take a look. Sunny immediately grew excited. Great. Perhaps we'll be able to pick up some good stuff. The 5 of them carefully flew in the direction of the battle. After flying about 15 miles, they saw 2 huge ships fighting. These 2 pirate ships were famous pirate ships. One of them was the pirate ship of the gods, while the other was the pirate ship of death. The gods' pirate ship's captain, Shui Zhonghua, was the famous empress. The empress was the undisputed #1 beauty of the martial heaven continent and the various seas. No woman was more enchanting than her. As for the death pirate ship's captain, he was Barbossa. This famous pirate was known for his savagery. The Empress's God's pirate ship and Barbossa's death pirate ship. Why are these 2 pirate kings fighting? Sunny asked curiously. Lin Feng said, the 9 pirate kings have never been on good terms with each other. Now that they're fighting, I'm guessing it's because of some benefits. Sui Bing nodded. The only thing that could make these pirate kings fight each other is benefits. Perhaps they're fighting over something. The 2 pirate ships constantly clashed in the storm ocean. It was as if the surrounding seas were about to flip over. Even the void was about to crack. The gods' pirate ship and the death pirate ship were both supreme treasures that had been passed down from the primordial era. It was rumored that they were divine ships that could travel through the river of time. The destruction caused by the collision of these 2 ships was naturally unsightly. Lin Feng's group of 5 had no choice but to quickly retreat. If they were caught in the shockwaves of the collision, they would instantly be crushed to pieces. Bang, bang, bang. The gods' pirate ship and the death pirate ship collided again and again, creating huge space-time black holes. Lin Feng had seen the void shatter before, but at most, it would just crack, and it would quickly repair itself. But now, the gods' pirate ship and the death pirate ship's destructive power was too great. They had formed a huge space-time black hole that covered dozens of miles. Lin Feng's group of 5 had no choice but to continue retreating. The space-time black hole was devouring everything around it. Even the islands were swallowed up. The gods' pirate ship and the death pirate ship were below the black hole, clashing once more amidst the towering waves. Both sides were locked in battle, and it was very difficult to suppress the other. At that moment, numerous tentacles suddenly stretched out of the sea. Heavens, that's... Chapter 12:19. An octopus? Sui Bing said in shock. She couldn't believe it. How could there be such a huge octopus in this world? Just one of its tentacles was 100,000 meters long. She couldn't imagine how huge the body of the octopus was. Now, the octopus wanted to devour the gods' pirate ship and the death pirate ship. But obviously, devouring the 2 pirate ships was not an easy task. The 2 pirate ships were supreme treasures left behind from the immemorial age or before. They had infinite divine power. The glory of the immemorial era, the eternal divine power of the immemorial gods, the immemorial god ship that carries the hope of the immemorial gods, immortal for all eternity. The Empress's voice came from the god ship. Thinking of the Empress, Lin Feng couldn't help but think of the time when he joined forces with the Empress and Granny of Tian Shan and the 33 steps of Sky Stairway. The Empress's peerless beauty was still unforgettable. Traverse the world of death, crossed the boundary between life and death, and reached the shore of eternal life. A cold voice came from the Death's ship. Lin Feng guessed that it was the voice of Barbassa, the captain of the Death's ship. The god's phantom appeared on the god's ship, and the Death's army appeared on the Death's ship. The gods were chanting the glory of the immemorial era. The Death's army roared sorrowfully, shaking the mountains and rivers as if they were about to descend from the endless world of death. Puff! The giant tentacles that wrapped around the gods and Death's ships were cut off by the war god Phantom and the Death's army. The gods and Death's ships successfully escaped before they were swallowed by the octopus. Screech! The huge octopus roared in pain, and its mountain-like tentacles smashed towards the god's pirate ship and the Death pirate ship. The god's pirate ship and the Death pirate ship sped up and rushed into the deepest part of the stormy sea. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared without a trace. The mountain-like octopus tentacles did not hit their targets. Instead, they hit the surface of the water. Suddenly, huge waves rose into the sky. That huge octopus let out a series of angry and unwilling roars, and then dived into the water, disappearing without a trace. How terrifying! Lin Feng and the others looked at each other. The battle just now was indeed too terrifying. That octopus's strength was probably close to that of a god. It might even have reached the realm of a god. Lin Feng and the others didn't stop and continued to head deeper. They were much more careful because the ferocious beasts in the stormy sea were too powerful. When encountering those ferocious beasts, the slightest bit of carelessness would result in a tragic death. Despite being extremely careful, Lin Feng's group of 5 was still attacked by a group of fiery red swordfish. These swordfish were about a dozen meters long, and were densely packed together. It was unknown how many of them there were. On the backs of these swordfish, there were bone spurs. The bone spurs of the swordfish were shaped like swords, and they could be detached from the body, just like the flying swords of cultivators. Swish, swish, swish. The swordfish attacked Lin Feng's group of 5. The bone spurs blotted out the sky and covered the earth as they flew towards Lin Feng's group. It was too terrifying. Lin Feng's group of 5 was terrified. Facing such a dangerous situation, Lin Feng hurriedly took out the 4 vicious cauldron, and the 5 of them entered it. Clang, clang, clang. The densely packed bone spurs collided with the cauldron, creating a series of clanging sounds. Although the cauldron was able to block the bone spurs' attack, the impact of so many bone spurs hitting the cauldron was extremely powerful. The impact of the collision shook the cauldron, and Lin Feng's group of 5 who were hiding inside the cauldron felt their blood boil. Their faces flushed red, and they almost coughed up blood. Huolier said, "There are too many swordfish. We have to quickly break out of this encirclement. Otherwise, the swordfish's attack will be enough to kill us. Let's use the cauldron to break out of this encirclement," Lin Feng said solemnly. The 5 of them used the cauldron to escape. The school of swordfish chased after them relentlessly, and they only managed to escape after a few dozen miles. Lin Feng's group of 5 rejoiced when they came out of the cauldron. After a short rest, they continued to travel deeper into the ocean. Not long after, a hurricane began to form in the ocean. Hurricanes were the most destructive natural disasters in the ocean. As for the storms and hurricanes, they were even more terrifying because there were powerful restrictions everywhere in the Sea of Storms. The whirlwinds would sweep up these restrictions, so once they were swallowed by the whirlwinds of the storm ocean, it was very likely that they would die. Lin Feng brought the 4 of them to escape when they saw the hurricanes sweeping over. They had to narrowly escape from the hurricanes. After cautiously flying through the ocean for half a month, Lin Feng's group of 5 finally saw the depths of the ocean. Under the cover of the mist, an island could be vaguely seen. Nightmare Island! The eyes of the 5 people suddenly lit up, revealing a joyful expression. It could be said that they had experienced dangers in the stormy ocean. Now that they were finally about to reach their destination, the Nightmare Island, this naturally made them feel excited. The restrictions here are even more terrifying. Everyone be careful, Lin Feng said solemnly. Sunny, Huolier, Suibing, and Miao Yuling nodded. They also knew that the closer they were to success, the more dangerous it would be. Lin Feng led the way, and the 5 of them carefully moved towards Nightmare Island. When they were about 10 miles away from Nightmare Island, Lin Feng's group of 5 was attacked. Huge bats flew towards them. They were 13 or 14 meters long, and their bodies were blood red. Lin Feng had never seen such huge bats. They were too ugly, and just looking at them made his scalp go numb. Ancient blood bats. They've already disappeared from the outside world. We're in trouble. Su Yibing's expression suddenly changed. More and more ancient blood bats flew over. Soon, more than 100 ancient blood bats had gathered and surrounded Lin Feng's group of 5. The two sides immediately engaged in a fierce battle. The ancient blood bats had sharp claws, and they could use sound attacks and blood-red energy attacks. They were very difficult to deal with. Lin Feng's group of 5 was in big trouble. I have a treasure here that should be able to resist for a while. Miao Yulin took out a crystal bead, which turned into a huge energy shield that enveloped the 5 of them. The primordial vampire bats were temporarily blocked by the energy shield formed by the crystal bead. This is a mysterious crystal bead, a forbidden weapon. Once activated, it can turn into an energy shield for defense. This is the 10th time it's been activated, so it can last for 15 minutes. Miao Yuling said. The forbidden weapon could be used 10 times at most, and the mysterious crystal bead had already been used up. Therefore, Lin Feng had to bring the 4 of them out of the sea within 15 minutes. However, that was enough. Under the protection of the mysterious crystal bead, Sun Yi, Su Yibing, Miao Lingyu, and Huolier kept attacking the ancient blood bats. Lin Feng opened his snake eyes and brought the 4 of them to avoid the terrifying restrictive spells floating above the sea. Finally, before the mysterious crystal bead broke, they successfully arrived at Nightmare Island. The ancient blood bats seemed to be unable to enter the island. The ancient blood bats were floating above the sea, looking at Lin Feng's group of 5 with gloomy eyes. They let out ear-piercing screeches, then flapped their wings and flew into the misty sea outside the island. In the blink of an eye, the ancient blood bats could no longer be seen. Chapter 12:20. Watching them leave, Lin Feng said, "These ancient vampire bats should be guarding the island. Maybe there are some rules preventing them from entering the island. Now that we're on the island, where should we go next? What are we looking for? Do you have a plan? Nightmare Island is the territory of the Great Dream Evil Emperor. It's very dangerous, so we don't want to explore the depths of the island. What we're looking for is in the outer regions of the island. It's called the 9-in Mysterious Earth Concoction," Su Yibing said. 9-in Earth Profound Liquid? What's that? Lin Feng asked curiously. Huolier explained. It's a natural treasure formed by the fusion of Earth Profound Liquid and 9-in Earth Profound Liquid over hundreds of millions of years. It's very effective. It can purify magic energy and make it purer and purer. It's very suitable for cultivators who are about to break through. Cultivators who are about to break through can use the 9-in Earth Profound Liquid to purify their magic energy. Once their magic energy reaches a certain level of purity, breaking through is just a matter of time. I see. But Nightmare Island is so big. It won't be easy to find the 9-in Earth Profound Liquid, right? Lin Feng asked. Of course it won't be easy, but I brought a treasure-seeking mouse with me. Miao Yuling patted the beast enslavement pouch on her waist, and a palm-sized, snow-white mouse appeared in her palm. Treasure-seeking mice were extremely rare spirit beasts. They were equally famous as dragon rabbits, and they were good at finding all kinds of natural treasures. Of course, treasure-seeking mice were very different from dragon rabbits. Dragon rabbits were good at finding natural treasures on the ground and in the mountains. Treasure-seeking mice were good at finding natural treasures underground. The 9-in Earth Profound Liquid was definitely in the underground world. That was exactly what treasure-seeking mice were good at. Little guy, take us to find the 9-in Earth Profound Liquid, Miao Yuling said to treasure-seeking mouse. Squeak, 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 squeak. Treasure-seeking mouse squeaked like a human, waving its paws from time to time. Then, it jumped to the ground and started searching the forest. For 3 days, Lin Feng and the others followed the treasure-hunting mouse through the forest. Finally, they entered a dense forest surrounded by black fog. The treasure-hunting mouse headed deeper into the forest. Within this dense forest, the Yin-Chi was dense, causing Lin Feng's group of 5 to shudder. In the distance, gusts of fierce winds suddenly swept up. A gale surged towards Lin Feng and the others, and a large area of the forest was instantly torn apart by the gale. Lin Feng took out the Hurricane Pearl and activated it. Immediately, the Hurricane Pearl turned into an energy shield, protecting Lin Feng's group. They were not swept away by the strong wind. Back in the stormy sea, Lin Feng didn't use the hurricane bead to deal with the hurricanes because there were many restrictions inside the hurricanes. The hurricane bead could deal with hurricanes, but it couldn't deal with restrictions. Therefore, the hurricane bead couldn't play its role at that time. Ignoring the terrifying restrictions inside the hurricanes would only lead to death. However, there was no restriction on the windstorm in the forest. After the windstorm was stopped, a sinister sound suddenly came from afar. Clouds of black fog drifted over, and the strange sound came from the black fog. Upon closer inspection, one could see that there were Yin ghosts hidden in the black fog. These Yin ghosts were different from ordinary ghosts. Their eyes were blood red, and they wore loose black robes. Blood-eyed Yin ghosts! Lin Feng's expression changed when he saw the Yin ghosts. Blood-eyed Yin ghosts were an extremely terrifying existence among the ghosts. They could continuously devour all kinds of living beings to increase their strength. Moreover, these blood-eyed Yin ghosts would kill and devour each other. Just how savage were these blood-eyed Yin ghosts? In order to increase his own strength, he was willing to do anything. The windstorm in the forest was caused by the blood-eyed Yin ghosts. Now that they were surrounded by a swarm of blood-eyed Yin ghosts, it was too dangerous. Let's go, Lin Feng said in a low voice. We're surrounded. We can't escape, Miao Yuling said with an ugly expression. It's fine. Come with me, Lin Feng said. This was the best time to break out of the encirclement before the blood-eyed Yin ghosts surrounded them. If they were completely surrounded, they would be in trouble. Lin Feng took out the heavenly fire, and it burned the void. The blood-eyed ghosts let out ear-piercing screeches when they came into contact with the heavenly fire. However, the heavenly fire was unable to extinguish these blood-eyed ghosts. This was because these blood-eyed ghosts had a very strange form. Their blood eyes contained a terrifying power that allowed them to withstand all kinds of powerful attacks. Heavenly fire! Walaya's eyes suddenly lit up. She wanted to marry Lin Feng, so she came for the heavenly fire. Now that she saw the heavenly fire, she could not remain calm. The heavenly fire forced the blood-eyed Yin ghosts to the sides, and the 5 of them quickly rushed out of the encirclement. They rushed into the depths of the forest. Finally, they saw a deep black hole. The treasure-seeking mouse squeaked as it pointed at the black hole. Lin Feng's and the others' eyes lit up. It seemed that the 9 Yin Earth mysterious liquid might have appeared in the depths of the black hole. The 5 of them did not hesitate, and quickly rushed into the black hole. However, Lin Feng's group did not notice that when the blood-eyed Yin ghosts arrived at the black hole, they all knelt down and bowed. There seemed to be something terrifying inside the black hole, which was why the blood-eyed Yin ghosts were so terrified. Not long after Lin Feng's group entered the black hole, a group of more than 100 people arrived at the periphery of the forest. They were Ao Bing and the others from the Dragon Palace. Third Prince, those 5 people have entered the depths of the forest. A commander of the oceanic species called True Monarch Tiger Shark said. Ao Bing looked into the depths of the forest and frowned. There are so many blood-eyed Yin ghosts here. Why are they taking the risk to enter? Could there be some kind of treasure? Dragons were greedy, and they liked to collect treasures. The evil dragons were even more so. Ao Bing's eyes lit up when he thought about the possibility of treasures inside. Your subordinate congratulates the third prince. Soon you will be able to obtain 4 peerless beauties and many treasures. It's a double blessing. The group of oceanic species immediately started to flatter him. Ao Bing smiled and said, When this prince obtains the treasures and brings the beauties home, all of you will be rewarded. Thank you, third prince. The oceanic species were overjoyed and quickly bowed to Ao Bing. You may dispense with the formalities. Ao Bing waved his hand. True monarch Tiger Shark said. Your Highness, should we charge in now? Ao Bing said. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the Oreo behind. Just wait outside. Give the order to lay in ambush. When they come out, attack immediately. Kill the man and capture the 4 women alive. Yes. Over 100 experts of the sea race received the order and quickly scattered into the forest to hide. Chapter 12:21. The black hole slanted all the way down, and it was very deep. The 5 of them carefully walked into the depths, and there were only thumping sounds coming from the passage. Suddenly, a gloomy aura came from the depths, and they could faintly hear a fishy smell in the air. Lin Feng waved his right hand. The purple flame core fire and the black flame burning god fire were summoned by him. The flames burned fiercely, protecting them underneath and illuminating the passageway. Lin Feng's group finally saw what had flown out from the depths of the passage. It was a black insect the size of a fingernail, emitting a foul smell, and covered in a carapace. Corpse-eating insects! Sun Yi exclaimed. Lin Feng had heard of corpse-eating insects before. Because they grew by eating corpses, their bodies were extremely poisonous. Moreover, corpse-eating insects had sharp fangs and claws, and could easily tear a cultivator's skin. Because of their poison, once the skin was pierced, the cultivator would be paralyzed and unable to move, and there would be no way to deal with them. The corpse-eating insects would take advantage of the situation and burrow into the cultivator's body. Once they burrowed into the cultivator's body, the insects would follow the flow of blood to the cultivator's heart, where they would eat the cultivator's heart and various organs before eating the cultivator's flesh. Lin Feng's group couldn't help but feel their scalps go numb. When the insects flew over and touched the heavenly fire, many of them were directly burned to death, and a large number of corpse-eating insects fell to the ground. Seeing this scene, Lin Feng's group let out a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the heavenly fire could deal with these insects. If they could resist the heavenly fire's attack, it would be quite troublesome. Lin Feng continued to urge the heavenly fire, increasing its power. All the insects were enveloped by the heavenly fire, and then burned to death. The ground was littered with corpse-eating insects. After all of them were burned to death, Lin Feng recalled the heavenly fire and said, "Looks like this place is much more frightening than we imagined. Everyone, pick up some corpse-eating insects and carry them with you. The corpse-eating insects' corpses will confuse the other insects." The 4 girls frowned. They were delicate beauties, so naturally, they didn't want to carry these smelly corpse-eating insects. I feel that those insects earlier were only a small portion of the insects. Maybe they have just woken up from their slumber. If my guess is correct, then there will be even more. We need to be careful in this place. Lin Feng. Okay. They reluctantly took out a perfume pouch, then the corpse-eating insects. Immediately, the sachet became a smelly sachet. The 4 girls couldn't help but frown. They didn't wear the heavenly fire pouch on their waists either. Lin Feng guessed that if there wasn't such a large group of insects, the 4 girls would immediately throw away the heavenly fire pouch. Lin Feng also took a pouch full of corpse-eating insects. The 5 of them endured the stench of the corpse-eating insects as they walked deeper. Soon, a large open area appeared in front of them. A 10-kilometer-wide canyon appeared in their line of sight. Why is there such a huge canyon here? Huolier frowned. Deep in the canyon was a huge abyss. Huolier curiously walked over, but when she reached the edge of the abyss, she immediately turned away and retched. Her face was very pale. Lin Feng's group of 4 walked over curiously. When they arrived at the edge of the abyss and looked inside, Lin Feng's face turned pale as well. Sun Yi, Miao Yuling, and Su Yibing also retched like Huolier. The abyss was filled with corpses. It was unknown how many corpses such a huge abyss could contain. Black masses of corpse-eating insects were crawling around the corpses. It was impossible to tell how many corpse-eating insects there were. Some of them were even as big as a wash basin. Their bodies were simply too big. Such large corpse-eating insects would probably be able to resist the heavenly fire for a short period of time. The four girls couldn't help but feel deep admiration for Lin Feng's foresight. If Lin Feng hadn't told them to bring corpse-eating insects' corpses to conceal their auras, they might have been discovered by the insects. They would have died without a doubt. The group hurriedly retreated, not daring to approach the abyss. There are so many corpses, and many of them are already rotten. I wonder when they were piled up here. Even after such a long time, these corpses still haven't turned into skeletons. How strong were they when they were alive? Hualaya said with a pale face. Those corpses must have been unimaginably strong when they were alive. Maybe it's because they were so strong that corpse-eating insects were born. Lin Feng frowned slightly. They didn't dare to stay here for long. They followed the passage on the right side of the wall, and walked all the way into the depths. Creak, creak, creak. After walking for 5 or 6 miles, the treasure-hunting mouse suddenly squealed and pointed its little paw at a cave not far away. The 5 of them arrived at the side of the cave. The cave was about 4 or 5 meters wide, and it was pitch black below. They couldn't see the inside of the cave. The 9 in earth profound concoction should be below, Miao Yuling said. All right, everyone be careful when we go down later, Lin Feng said. The 4 girls nodded. Next, the 5 of them jumped into the cave and flew down. After descending for about a kilometer, they landed on the ground. It was very dark here, and a gloomy qi filled the air, causing everyone to shiver. Lin Feng and the others carefully walked deeper into the cave. The area below the cave was very large, about 7 or 8 miles wide. Lin Feng and the others arrived at the depths of the cave. Look, a stone vine. Sun Yi pointed at a rock wall and saw a huge stone vine growing on it. It was densely packed with vines. Lin Feng knew about the stone tribe and had seen them before. However, this was the first time he had seen a stone plant. He couldn't help but sigh at how mysterious the creator was. Miaoling Yu said, Do you see that huge stone flower growing on the stone vine? I can feel a dense gloomy qi from it. I think that's the 9 in earth profound concoction. The others nodded, agreeing with Miao Yuling's speculation. Hualaya sighed. I didn't expect the 9 in earth profound concoction to be a treasure condensed from such a huge stone vine. Suibing said. Right now, the stone vine is still asleep, so this might be our chance. If we wait until the stone vine wakes up, then this stone vine will be extremely terrifying, and it will be as difficult as ascending to the heavens for us to obtain the 9 in earth profound liquid. Wait here. I'll go get the 9 in earth profound concoction, Lin Feng said. The 4 girls nodded. Lin Feng was the fastest. It would be best if Lin Feng could take it. Lin Feng quickly flew towards the stone vine, but when he arrived next to the stone vine, a destructive qi emerged from the stone vine and filled the air. Not good, the stone vine is awake. Chapter 12:22. Lin Feng's expression changed when he saw the awakening of the stone vine. The aura emitted by the stone vine was too terrifying. He didn't know how strong it was, but the stone tribe members were all terrifying existences. Stone men, stone beasts, and even plants. As long as it was a member of the stone tribe, they had the power to destroy the world. The stone vine in front of him was so huge that it must have lived for tens of thousands of years. Naturally, it was difficult to fight against it. Lin Feng, come back quickly. We'll give up on the 9 in earth Xian concoction, Sun Yi exclaimed. Lin Feng didn't dare to continue flying towards the stone flower. Once the stone vine fully awakened, Lin Feng felt that it had the power to kill him. Lin Feng felt that the awakening stone vine was even more dangerous than the giant octopus in the stormy sea. This meant that the stone vine's strength must have reached the divine realm. Although Lin Feng's cultivation wasn't bad, he knew that he would die if he faced such a stone vine. Lin Feng wanted to retreat, but he found that he was restrained by a force. His body flew towards the stone vine. It was the Xianming demonic book. The Xianming demonic book was an extremely strange treasure. Even now, Lin Feng couldn't understand it. Lin Feng felt that the Xianming demonic book seemed to have its own spirituality. However, the Xianming demonic book's weapon spirit had never appeared before. Therefore, Lin Feng didn't know what kind of state the Xianming demonic book was in. He also didn't know if it really had a weapon spirit. However, Lin Feng knew that the Xianming demonic book was very strange. Now, the Xianming demonic book was controlling Lin Feng's body to fly towards the stone vine. F*CKU, are you trying to kill me? Lin Feng wanted to cry. He transmitted his voice to the Xianming demonic book, but it didn't reply. His body flew towards the stone flower. Lin Feng, are you crazy? Sunny, Huolier, Suibing, and Miao Yuling all cried out in alarm. They looked at Lin Feng with incomparable worry. Lin Feng wanted to cry but had no tears. He also wanted to quickly withdraw, but the key was that his body was not under his control. Pa! A stone vine instantly tore through the void and whipped towards Lin Feng at high speed. Lin Feng was horrified. He could feel the danger of death. In this moment of life and death, Lin Feng activated the archaic dragonesque elephant skill. The archaic dragonesque elephant energy in his body surged and poured into the demonic bead. Then, Lin Feng controlled the demonic bead to collide with the Xianming demonic book. The Xianming demonic book did not want to collide with the demonic bead, so it chose to retreat. Lin Feng regained control of his body. He quickly dodged the stone vines, but Lin Feng was still unable to dodge them completely. He was hit by the stone vines. Kacha! Kacha! Even with his strong physique, who knew how many bones were broken, Lin Feng's body was sent flying and crashed into the stone flower. At this moment, a petal of the stone flower opened, and Lin Feng was instantly sucked in. Lin Feng had the impression that his physical body was going to explode. He was going to turn into food for the stone flower. This stone vine was too terrifying. Lin Feng's strength was not weak. But in the hands of the stone vine, he could not even withstand a single move. Lin Feng felt that he was about to die. But at this moment, the Xianming demonic book flew out, and a suction force surged out from the book. Lin Feng's wound spurted out a stream of blood, which was instantly absorbed by the Xianming demonic book. After absorbing Lin Feng's blood, the Xianming demonic book seemed to have come to life. The hundreds of mysterious Tao characters on the book started to move rapidly. The characters on the book were rearranged. Clang! The Xianming demonic book slammed into the stone flower's petal. Suddenly, the second layer of petals opened. The stone flower had a total of 9 layers of petals. When the second layer of petals opened, the 9 earth mystic liquid could be seen. The Xianming demonic book started to absorb the 9 earth mystic liquid. Even the demonic bead flew out, and started to absorb the 9 earth mystic liquid. Lin Feng was stupefied. He hadn't thought that not only would he survive, but he would also see the 9 earth Xian liquid. He quickly took out a spatial porcelain bottle and stored the 9 earth mystic liquid. At this moment, a terrifying wave of energy surged out from the stone flower. The third layer of petals opened. The fourth layer of petals opened. The fifth layer of petals opened. The sixth layer of petals opened. The seventh layer of petals opened. The eighth layer of petals opened. Lin Feng did not know what was going on. Why would the stone flower's petals open? This made him feel strange. At this moment, the 9th layer of petals opened. Lin Feng stared at the 9th layer of petals without blinking. He did not know what was in the 9th layer of petals. When the 9th layer of petals opened, a ball of dense energy appeared in Lin Feng's vision. Within the ball of energy, there was a vague figure sitting cross-legged. He could not see the figure's face clearly. He could not even tell if it was a man or a woman. However, it was definitely a person. Oh my God! A living being was born from the stone flower? Lin Feng's expression changed. The demonic bead and the Xianming demonic book seemed to know that they were in trouble. They immediately broke through the outermost layer of petals. A god was born from the stone flower. Lin Feng did not dare to stay any longer. He quickly rushed out. The Xianming demonic book and the demonic bead entered Lin Feng's body. The god, sitting cross-legged in the ball of dense energy behind him, opened his eyes. Swoosh! Swoosh! Two cold eyes pierced through the void and shot toward Lin Feng. At that moment, Lin Feng felt that his body could not move. When the eyes shot toward him, the Xianming demonic book and the demonic bead each released a ball of energy to protect Lin Feng's body. Bang! Lin Feng was sent flying by the eyes. He could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Fortunately, he survived. He did not dare to stay any longer. He quickly rushed out. Go, hurry up and leave! Lin Feng shouted. Sunny, Hua Liar, Suibing, and Miao Yuling did not expect this to happen. A god was born from the stone flower. When the four of them saw this scene, they were scared silly. When they heard Lin Feng's shout, they came back to their senses. How could they dare to stay any longer? They quickly rushed out. The stone vines continued to extend, wrapping around Lin Feng. Explode! Lin Feng took out a dozen Dao treasures and detonated them. No matter how precious Dao treasures were, they could not compare to his life. Boom! After the Dao treasures were detonated, the stone vines were swallowed by the explosion. However, what made Lin Feng's hair stand on end was that the stone vines quickly rushed out of the explosion. They did not suffer much damage. The stone vines were too terrifying. Lin Feng clenched his teeth and took out the demigod weapon Evil Dragon Blade he had obtained from Wang Zhanlong. It was a supreme treasure forged by a god-level powerhouse of the Evil Dragon clan. Later, it was obtained by Wang Zhanlong. Wang Zhanlong was bribed by Huangfu Qingtian and challenged Lin Feng. He wanted to kill Lin Feng, but he was killed by Lin Feng. All the treasures were taken by Lin Feng, including the demigod weapon Evil Dragon Blade. Now, in order to escape, he did not hesitate to destroy the demigod weapon Evil Dragon Blade. Explode! Lin Feng took out the Evil Dragon Blade and detonated its self-destruct array. Bang! The Evil Dragon Blade, a half-godly weapon, exploded. Destructive energies rose up in the air and surrounded the vines. The vines which had been chasing Lin Feng exploded into pieces. Chapter 12:23. Swoosh, Sunny, Hua Liar, Suibing, and Miaoling Yu rushed up one after another. Lin Feng also rushed up to the top of the cave. The demigod artifact's explosion had caused the cave below to collapse. Fortunately, they had moved quickly enough, or they would have been buried. Wang! 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 But at this moment, the corpse-eating bugs in the abyss were alarmed. After all, the commotion from before was too big. It was impossible not to alarm these corpse-eating insects. By the time Lin Feng's group of 5 rushed out, the path ahead was already blocked by a large number of corpse-eating bugs. This is troublesome. Seeing the overwhelming number of corpse-eating bugs, Lin Feng's expression turned grave. The corpse-eating bugs were rioting. The situation was very dangerous. Sunny, Hua Liar, Suibing, and Miao Yuling's faces were as pale as paper. The situation before them was too despairing. The king-rank corpse-eating bugs haven't come out yet. We still have hope of escaping, Lin Feng said solemnly. As soon as he said that, he took out the purple earth core fire and the black goat incinerate fire. The heavenly fire burned fiercely, burning a large number of corpse-eating bugs to death. But there were too many of them. The heavenly fire could only burn a portion of them. So, there were still quite a few corpse-eating bugs approaching Lin Feng's group. At this moment, Lin Feng's group of 5 frantically attacked the approaching corpse-eating bugs. Screech! At this moment, an ear-piercing screech rang out from behind them. Dozens of king-rank corpse-eating bugs rushed over, emitting a foul stench. Each of them was extremely terrifying. Their claws could easily tear apart Dao artifacts. Explode! Lin Feng threw out several Dao artifacts. The Dao artifacts self-destructed. The powerful shockwave engulfed the dozens of Insect King-class corpse-eating insects. A large number of ordinary corpse-eating insects were instantly killed, but the Insect King class corpse-eating insects were only blown away and didn't suffer any serious injuries. The defense of these king-rank corpse-eating bugs was too strong. Those Insect King-level corpse-eating insects were also quite angry after being blasted away. They once again charged towards Lin Feng's group. Lin Feng's expression turned gloomy. He took out a few more Dao artifacts and threw them forward. The Dao artifact exploded, killing the densely packed corpse-eating bugs. However, there were too many of them. The corpse-eating insects blocking the front had just been blasted to death, and then new corpse-eating insects took their place. In the end, Lin Feng and the other four found it difficult to move. "It's over. We're going to die!" Sun Yi screamed in horror. Hua Liar, Sui Bing, and Miao Yuling also had expressions of despair on their faces. "With me here, you won't die," Lin Feng said. The eyes of the four women suddenly lit up, and they looked at Lin Feng in unison. Lin Feng took out the Black Dragon sword. At the same time, he also took out the Heavenly God liquid. He poured 5 drops of Heavenly God liquid onto the Black Dragon sword. "Ah, this is the Heavenly God liquid? It seems to be even purer than the Heavenly God liquid I used before. We're saved!" Sun Yi immediately shouted in excitement. "Get out of the way!" Lin Feng shouted. The four women quickly separated. Lin Feng was holding his sword with both hands and slashing at the enemy. Groan. A high-pitched dragon roar could be heard. The Black Dragon sword was activated after absorbing the energy of the Heavenly God liquid. The sword Lin Feng sent out turned into a black dragon. The corpse-eating bugs blocking the front were all destroyed. Lin Feng and the other four quickly rushed forward, disappearing into the passage. They didn't dare to stay for even a moment. The 5 of them raised their speed to the limit and flew out. Behind them, the corpse-eating bugs blotted out the sky and covered the earth. There were too many of them, and it was impossible to kill them all. Lin Feng stayed at the back. As he fled, he used the Black Dragon sword to attack the surrounding walls. The walls collapsed. Although they couldn't really block the corpse-eating bugs, at least they could temporarily slow down the speed of the corpse-eating bugs. Swoosh! 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 Finally, Lin Feng and the other four rushed out of the cave. As soon as they rushed out, a dense group of blood-eyed ghosts pounced on them. Lin Feng used the Heavenly God liquid again. With a slash of his sword, the blood-eyed ghosts were killed one by one. Lin Feng felt the pinch after using 10 drops of Heavenly God liquid in such a short time. However, in order to escape, the Heavenly God liquid was a necessary consumable. Lin Feng and the other four rushed out of the area where the blood-eyed ghosts were. They came to the dense forest outside. Just as they were about to leave, they were surrounded by hundreds of cultivators. These cultivators looked like humans, but they were extremely ugly. Their bodies were either covered in scales or shells. The cultivators surrounding Lin Feng and the other four were naturally the oceanic cultivators. The only good-looking one was the third prince of the Dragon Palace, Ao Bing. "Hey, it's you!" When Ao Bing saw Lin Feng, his eyes flashed with a cold light. "The Oceanic Clan?" Lin Feng was shocked. He had heard many rumors about the Oceanic Clan, but this was the first time he had seen one. He looked at Ao Bing in confusion and asked, "Do you know me?" "Lin Feng, a new human supreme genius. You killed Shuizang Xian of the Demon Clan not long ago. How can I not know you?" Ao Bing sneered. If Ao Bing could say this, it was obvious that the Oceanic Clan was very clear about the outside world. After pausing for a moment, Ao Bing continued, "You even killed Wang Shanlong, a subordinate that I had nurtured. Do you know how much effort and resources it took for me to nurture a subordinate like Wang Shanlong? I have always wanted to take your life, but I have never found a suitable opportunity. Since you have walked right into my trap today, this will be your burial ground." As soon as Ao Bing finished speaking, before he could give the order to attack, Lin Feng attacked Ao Bing. 1,000-meter-long sword light slashed down, and Ao Bing's expression changed drastically. He dodged in a sorry state. He had not expected Lin Feng to attack without warning. Sunny, Hualai Sui Bing, and Miao Yuling had not expected Lin Feng to suddenly attack. Lin Feng had his reasons for attacking in advance. First, there was the threat of the corpse-eating insects, so he had to leave as soon as possible. Second, Lin Feng had heard Ao Bing mention Wang Shanlong. Lin Feng thought of the Blue Cloud sect, where Wang Shanlong had gone missing for many years. He also thought of Wang Shanlong's pseudo-divine weapon, the evil dragon blade. Therefore, Lin Feng guessed that Wang Shanlong's disappearance for nearly 10 years had something to do with the Oceanic clan in front of him. Wang Shanlong might have a deep relationship with the Oceanic clan. Lin Feng had killed Wang Shanlong, so he was not friends with the Oceanic clan. Therefore, Lin Feng immediately attacked. Ao Bing was only sent flying a dozen meters by the sword chi. His injuries were not fatal. However, the dozen Oceanic clan cultivators around Ao Bing were not so lucky. They were all killed by Lin Feng. "Let's go!" shouted Lin Feng. He took the lead and rushed into the distance. Sunny, Hua Lier Suibing, and Miao Yuling followed him and rushed out of the encirclement. "Your Highness, are you okay?" Tiger Shark True Monarch and the others quickly ran to Ao Bing, who had fallen on the ground, and asked worriedly. They did not necessarily care about Ao Bing. The reason he was worried about Ao Bing was that if Ao Bing died here, the guards would also be executed by the Dragon Palace. Ao Bing only had superficial wounds. He was not seriously injured. He got up from the ground and shouted angrily, "Chase after him!" Just as the group of people was about to chase after Ao Bing, a buzzing sound came from the depths. Ao Bing and the others could not help but look in confusion. They saw corpse-eating insects flying toward them. "It's a swarm of corpse-eating insects. Run!" Many Oceanic clan cultivators shouted in horror when they saw the corpse-eating insects. Ao Bing was so frightened that his face turned pale. He no longer cared about Lin Feng and the others. He turned around and fled. The corpse-eating insects chased after them. Many Oceanic clan cultivators were caught by the insects. They did not even have time to scream before they were eaten by the insects until only their bones were left. Chapter 12:24. Lin Feng's group of 5 left quickly, escaping from the sea race and the corpse-eating bugs. Boom. A violent sound came from the depths of the island. Lin Feng's group of 5 couldn't help but look towards the depths of Nightmare Island. They could vaguely see 4 ancient ships engaged in a chaotic battle. 4 pirate kings? Lin Feng was surprised. He had seen the Empress and Barbossa before, but he didn't know who the other 2 pirate kings were. He couldn't see the flags of the other 2 ships clearly because they were too far away. The 4 pirate kings must be here for some great treasure, but he didn't know what it was. However, Lin Feng didn't intend to explore the depths of Nightmare Island. This island was too dangerous. Since he had obtained the 9 Earth Mystic Liquid, he should learn to be satisfied. If he continued to stay here, he might die. Lin Feng's group of 5 left Nightmare Island and fought a bloody battle with the ancient vampire bats guarding the island. After going through many dangers, they finally made it out of the stormy sea region. Everyone felt extremely lucky to be able to make it out alive. "This is the sea race's territory. We can't stay here for long. Let's go," Lin Feng said and left the deep sea region with the 4 girls. They finally came to an island in the middle of the East Sea. Lin Feng opened up a cave and set up restrictions to protect the cave. Then, Lin Feng took out the 9 Earth Mystic Liquid. He distributed the 9 Earth Mystic Liquid to everyone, and they found a place to refine it. Boom. As the 9 Earth Mystic Liquid was refined, Lin Feng felt a powerful energy in his body being absorbed by his magic power. This energy was the energy that the 9 Earth Mystic Liquid broke down after being refined. After absorbing the 9 Earth Mystic Liquid's energy, his magic power became purer and purer. 3 days later, Lin Feng finally completed his breakthrough. His realm had broken through from the 9th level of the creation realm to the 10th level of the creation realm. Lin Feng opened his eyes, full of joy. He had finally broken through to the 10th level of the creation realm. Another breakthrough. This was the life and death realm. Breaking through the life and death realm and becoming an ancient giant. This was something that countless cultivators dreamed of. It was also the realm that countless cultivators pursued for their entire lives. Now, Lin Feng was only 26 years old and was about to break through to the life and death realm. Countless cultivators had cultivated for thousands of years without having the chance to break through to the life and death realm. Even though I lost 10 drops of heavenly god liquid, I broke through to the next level. It's not a bad deal. Lin Feng couldn't help comforting himself. However, using up 10 drops of heavenly god elixir in one go really pained him. After all, he had only obtained 35 drops of heavenly god elixir in total. This is... Suddenly, Lin Feng noticed a strange change in the dark Nether Fiend book. The Xianming Fiend book gave Lin Feng a different feeling than before. However, Lin Feng couldn't pinpoint exactly what was different. This was a feeling that could only be sensed but not expressed in words. Could it be related to absorbing a large amount of 9 Earth Profound Nectar? Lin Feng couldn't help but think of a certain possibility. He took out the 9-colored illusory stone and held it in his hand. Then, he sat down cross-legged and started comprehending the Tao character on the dark Nether Fiend book. Lin Feng had only comprehended death and annihilation out of the hundreds of Tao characters in the book. If he wanted to comprehend the other Tao characters, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. If he tried to forcefully comprehend them, he would feel as if his head had been split open. It would be a fate worse than death. However, it was different this time. Lin Feng sensed a dense life energy. A new Tao character! Lin Feng was shocked. It seemed like there was a new Tao character on the dark Nether Fiend book that he could comprehend. He carefully tried to comprehend this new Tao character. This Tao character was brimming with vitality, as if it contained a vigorous life energy. After an unknown amount of time, Lin Feng finally saw this Tao character and comprehended it. This Tao character was the life character. The life of all living things. The life of life energy. The life character represented the true essence of life, the origin of life. When Lin Feng comprehended the life character, something shocking happened. Originally, during the life and death battle between Lin Feng and Shui Zhangxian had plundered 2,000 years of his lifespan. However, when he comprehended the life character, Lin Feng's lifespan quickly increased. Soon, it increased from 8,000 years to 10,000 years, and it was still climbing. Lin Feng's lifespan increased to 20,000 years before stopping. When Lin Feng comprehended the true essence of the life character, his lifespan actually reached 20,000 years. Lin Feng had a lifespan of 10,000 years in the creation realm because his bloodline was too powerful. The stronger the bloodline, the longer the lifespan. However, ordinary creation realm cultivators only had a lifespan of 4,000 to 5,000 years. Even the lifespan of an eternal powerhouse was only 10,000 years. Some of the top eternal powerhouses might have a lifespan of 14,000 to 5,000 years. However, Lin Feng had yet to break through to the life and death realm. He had yet to become an eternal powerhouse. His lifespan had already reached 20,000 years. It was truly shocking. The life character actually allowed my lifespan to reach 20,000 years. This is truly heaven-defying. Lin Feng was ecstatic. The life character and death character. These 2-foot life and death characters. Is there something special about them? Then, Lin Feng couldn't help but think about the relationship between the life and death characters. The two life characters opposed each other but were also connected. When Lin Feng activated the life and death characters, suddenly, the two life characters took the initiative to fly together. The life character was on the left, while the death character was on the right. The two life characters began to spin. Moreover, the two life characters formed a certain tight connection. Emperor technique, seal of life and death. Then, a fleeting voice sounded in Lin Feng's mind. An illusory figure appeared in his mind. The figure condensed the life character in his left hand and the death character in his right hand. He condensed an ancient seal with the life and death characters. The ancient seal emitted the aura of life and death. Boom! The illusory figure threw out the seal. The universe shattered and the sky shattered as if the end of the world had arrived. When the illusory figure disappeared, a seal appeared in Lin Feng's mind. The content recorded in the incantation was the condensation incantation for the monarch art, seal of life and death. Heavens, the combination of the two life characters actually turned into an emperor technique. Lin Feng's face was filled with shock. An emperor technique was a supreme technique that transcended the primordial era. It was a technique created by a great emperor. This Xianming demonic tome is too terrifying. There are hundreds of life characters. How can different life characters be combined? How many top-tier techniques will I be able to learn? Lin Feng's face was filled with shock at the thought of this. Lin Feng had lost 10 drops of Heavenly God elixir during this operation, which made him feel very pained. But now, he had a breakthrough in his cultivation. His lifespan had increased by 12,000 years, reaching 20,000 years. He had also obtained an Emperor technique, seal of life and death. Not to mention 10 drops of Heavenly God elixir. It would be worth it even if he had to use up all of it. After a long time, Lin Feng calmed himself down. He realized that Sunny, Miao Yuling, Hua Liar, and Su Yibing had yet to awaken from their cultivation. Lin Feng quickly left the cave. He didn't want the 4 women to keep bothering him. He flew to the nearest place where cultivators were gathered. Lin Feng wanted to use the space and time wormhole to go to the central continent. The central continent was the center of the Tianwu continent. It was said that the central continent was incomparably vast. A single continent was larger than the 72 northern continents. From this, one could see how vast the central continent was. Chapter 1225. Middle Continent, I'm finally here. Lin Feng came out of the space-time wormhole and shouted with his arms wide open. This was his first time coming to the Middle Continent, the heart of the Sky Martial Continent. In the Middle Continent, there were the most ancient clans, such as the immemorial Jiang clan. There were also the most ancient dynasties, such as the 4 ancient dynasties. There were also the most ancient sects, such as the Fortune Gate. There were also the most ancient sects, such as the Yin-Yang sect. It could be said that the Middle Continent was the holy land of the Sky Martial Continent, a place that countless people yearned for. Crazy! Many cultivators who came out with Lin Feng looked at him with disdain. Lin Feng rubbed his nose awkwardly. Kill them, don't let them escape, don't let the princes and princesses of the immortal ancient empire escape. Shouts of killing could be heard from afar. Lin Feng and the rest had just come out of the transfer array, so they did not know what was happening in the ancient city. After hearing the shouts of killing, they turned around and looked around the ancient city. In the huge transfer array, only the few hundred people who had just come out of the space-time wormhole were still standing there. In the distant ancient city, there were battles everywhere. Smoke rose everywhere, and shouts of killing shook the heavens. Damn! What's going on? Lin Feng and the rest were dumbfounded. Even now, they still did not understand what was happening. The ancient city they were in was called the Immortal Ancient Imperial Capital. It was the imperial capital of an ancient dynasty called the Immortal Ancient Empire. Such a huge imperial capital should be the core of the ancient dynasty. The nobles and ministers all lived here, and the experts were as common as the clouds. But now, the imperial capital had already been broken through. No wonder there was no one in the transfer array. Such a huge battle had covered the entire ancient city. The cultivators in charge of the transfer array were probably involved in the battle as well. In the distance, hundreds of people rushed over. Those cultivators were protecting more than 10 young cultivators. Those young cultivators should be the princes and princesses of the immortal ancient empire. Lin Feng could feel a powerful aura from 4 or 5 cultivators. Those cultivators were all top geniuses. Behind those cultivators was a dense army of pursuers. Open the transfer array and escape! A young cultivator shouted. A young cultivator shouted. The teleportation array seemed to be his only hope of escaping. One of the elders said. We can't take the teleportation formation. The teleportation formation that leads us out has already been cut off by those forces. If we enter the teleportation formation, we'll be teleported into their trap. At that time, only death awaits us. Right now, only the teleportation formation in the Imperial capital hasn't been destroyed. It's clear that they've made ample preparations. They even want to catch a turtle in a jar. No matter how many reinforcements come, they'll be trapped within the Imperial capital. F***CK. Who is this? How could he be so wicked? Hearing the immortal ancient country elder's words, Lin Feng immediately rolled his eyes. Those people were too ruthless. Even innocent people like Lin Feng had been scammed. The Imperial capital has been heavily surrounded. None of you will be able to escape. Surrender now, and I'll give you a quick death. Lin Feng said coldly. The pursuing cultivator shouted, his voice filled with endless iciness and killing intent. Now, it wasn't just the immortal ancient country cultivators whose faces were as pale as paper. Even the cultivators who had teleported out with Lin Feng were pale with fright. Although they didn't have anything to do with the immortal ancient country, the cultivators who had attacked the immortal ancient country clearly didn't think so. Anyone who wasn't on their side was destined to be killed. Everyone were going to die either way. Why don't you fight with us and break out of this encirclement? An elder from the immortal ancient country shouted. In such a dangerous situation, this was indeed the only way. Although they didn't want to have anything to do with the immortal ancient country, they had no other choice. They could only work together with the immortal ancient country cultivators to break out of this encirclement. When the group of people gathered together, there were about 800 or 900 people. Kill! Heaven-shaking battle cries rang out one after another as cultivators swarmed over from all directions. Cultivators from both sides immediately clashed, and it was difficult to tell who had the upper hand. In the air, there were corpses of cultivators falling down. Some were like Lin Feng, some were from the immortal ancient country. Of course, there were also cultivators who had besieged them. This battle could be said to be extremely tragic. After losing 500 or 600 people, only 300 or 400 people were left, and they managed to break out of the encirclement with great difficulty. Everyone, escort a young master out of here. The leading elder from the immortal ancient country said in a deep voice. Clearly, they planned to separate and escort the princes and princesses of the immortal ancient country. If they escaped together, they might even be wiped out in one fell swoop. If they split up, their chances of escaping would also be much higher. You must be careful. The elders from the immortal ancient country each led a dozen cultivators to escort a young master out of here. There were 5 young masters in total. 4 men and 1 woman. One of the young masters was about 7 or 8 years old, and he was so scared that he couldn't stop crying. Third sister, take me with you, said Lin Feng. The child cried as he looked at the woman in white. Little June, go with third uncle. It's too dangerous to stay with me, the woman said. Then, these people didn't dare to stay and quickly split up to escape. Lin Feng and the others also scattered, each running for their lives. Chase! I'd rather kill 1,000 by mistake than let one escape. The princes and princesses of the immortal ancient country must live. In the distance, a man holding a huge axe like a war god walked over, his voice cold. Yes. Numerous cultivators chased after Lin Feng and the others, who were fleeing in all directions. Screech! In the distance, a sharp, ear-piercing cry came from the sky. One after another, huge birds flew over. These birds were surrounded by flames, and their wingspans were more than 10 meters long. It was unknown what kind of race they were. There was a cultivator standing on top of each bird. Fiery dragahawks! Those are fiery dragahawks! Run! A cultivator recognized the birds and was immediately scared out of his wits. Fiery dragahawks had the body of a dragon and the head of an eagle. They were extremely ferocious, and after being subdued, they were trained as mounts. Cultivators and fiery dragahawks fused together to become fiery dragahawk knights. In the middle continent, fiery dragahawk knights were extremely rare, and they were often synonymous with power. Even though they were far away, the aura of the fiery dragonhawk knights that were chasing after them from afar made those escaping cultivators feel shocked and suffocated. The fiery dragonhawk knights quickly chased after them. Asterisk whoosh whoosh whoosh. Asterisk their huge wings suddenly flapped, and flames swept over. Many of the fleeing cultivators were enveloped by the flames, and they let out miserable screams. Not long after, they were burned alive. Their deaths were extremely miserable. Chapter 12:26. Most of the time, life was extremely fragile. Just like now, cultivators were falling into pools of blood one after another. Those cultivators had been excitedly discussing various matters of the central continent in the space-time wormhole. But in the blink of an eye, they had all died miserably. Life was so dramatic. It was filled with many unexpected things, including the withering of life. Swoosh! Lin Feng was very fast. In the blink of an eye, he had rushed out more than 10 miles. The army chasing after him could not catch up to him at all. However, a fiery dragonhawk knight had locked on to Lin Feng and was rushing over on his fiery dragonhawk. This fiery dragonhawk knight's cultivation was exceptionally strong. He held a halberd in his hand and looked like a war god. He glanced at Lin Feng, who was flying in the air. "You're so young, but you're so fast. If it weren't for the fiery dragonhawk, even I would not have been able to catch up to you." A cold voice came from the sky. The fiery dragonhawk knight looked at Lin Feng indifferently as if he was looking at a dead man. Clearly, in his eyes, Lin Feng was no different from a dead man. He did not recognize Lin Feng. This was normal. Although Lin Feng was famous in the 3,000 provinces, only a small portion of people had actually seen Lin Feng. Whether it was on the Prodigy Arena, the 72 Paragon Pillars, or outside the Prodigy Arena, how many people had seen Lin Feng? At most, tens of thousands of people were already not bad. And how many people were there in the Sky Martial Continent? There were 63,000 provinces in the Sky Martial Continent. The number of people in each province could be counted as trillions. It was impossible to count how many people there were in the 3,000 provinces. If one really wanted to describe how many people there were in the 3,000 provinces, perhaps it was like the water in the ocean. One drop of water was one person. Could you count how many drops of water there were in the ocean? Of course, that was impossible. So, many people had heard of Lin Feng's name. He was the genius who had stepped on Murong Tianshan and ascended to the Prodigy Arena. But to say that they all knew him was too unrealistic. Lin Feng didn't say anything. Instead, he continued to fly into the distance. This place was too close to the immortal ancient nation's imperial capital. In the distance, there was a large army chasing after him. In the sky, there were dozens of fiery dragonhawk knights. If he was delayed by this person, he would be surrounded by a large number of cultivators. If they were surrounded by the army, it would be troublesome. Enough ants can kill an elephant. Not to mention that there were so many powerful cultivators here. "Leave your life!" the fiery dragonhawk knight who was chasing after Lin Feng said coldly. The fiery dragonhawk's mind was connected to Lin Feng's, and it immediately spat out flames that covered the sky, shrouding Lin Feng. Previously, many cultivators had died to the flames. Lin Feng increased his speed and dodged the fire dragonhawk's flame attack. The fiery dragonhawk knight's expression was very ugly. He sneered and said, "Jumping up and down like a monkey, but no matter how much a monkey jumps, it can't escape death." Swish! As soon as he said that, the fiery dragonhawk knight waved his halberd. Terrifying beams of light swept out, slashing toward Lin Feng. Lin Feng twisted and turned in midair, dodging the enemy's attack and continuing to fly into the distance. The fiery dragonhawk knight's expression became uglier and uglier. He had attacked several times, but all of them had ended in failure. This made him very angry. The two sides, one fleeing and one chasing, flew for a full 50 miles. Above the ancient forest, only Lin Feng and the fiery dragonhawk knight were left. There were no other pursuers. At this time, Lin Feng stopped and looked at the fiery Dragahawk Knight with an indifferent expression. Brat, why aren't you running anymore? You know you're going to die, so you're giving up? The fiery Dragahawk Knight looked at Lin Feng with disdain. This was a life and death realm expert. Together with the fiery Dragahawk Knight, they were exceptionally powerful. Lin Feng curiously asked, Why do you want to destroy the immortal ancient nation? Could it be that they have some kind of great treasure? Let's hear it. All the cultivators in the world came for benefits. All disputes were caused by benefits. Lin Feng didn't believe that these powers would destroy the immortal ancient nation for no reason. You want to know? Go ask Yama. The fiery Dragahawk Knight's expression was cold. He urged his fiery Dragahawk Knight to fuse with his mount, turning into a streak of fiery light. The halberd in his hand smashed toward Lin Feng. This attack seemed to be able to split the heavens and earth. It instantly tore apart the void, causing mountains and rivers to shatter. The attack of a life and death realm expert was already powerful enough. Coupled with the charging power of the fiery Dragahawk Knight, its power was greatly increased. Thus, the resulting attack was extremely frightening. At that moment, the attack was about to crash onto Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng stood in the air, not even bothering to dodge. He reached out with his right hand and made a grabbing motion. Crack! Lin Feng grabbed the halberd that was falling towards him. You! The fiery Dragahawk Knight looked at Lin Feng in shock. This was something he didn't even dare to dream about. His tyrannical attack was actually caught by a young cultivator in his 20s. Even a supreme genius wouldn't have an easy time dealing with his attack. Lin Feng raised his right hand and raised the halberd, then smashed it toward the fiery Dragahawk Knight. The fiery Dragahawk Knight immediately retreated after Lin Feng snatched his halberd. However, the fiery Dragahawk Knight's body was huge and its reaction was slow. It was clearly impossible for it to retreat. Lin Feng's halberd smashed into the fiery Dragahawk Knight's body. Bang! The fiery Dragahawk Knight's huge body was instantly torn apart. Who are you? The fiery Dragahawk Knight looked at Lin Feng in horror. Now, he naturally knew that he had kicked an iron plate. His heart was filled with endless fear. You weren't like this when you wanted to kill me, said Lin Feng indifferently as he walked toward the cultivator. I'm a cultivator from the Yin-Yang sect. There might be some misunderstanding, said the fiery Dragahawk Knight. So you're from the Yin-Yang sect? Is that old bastard Song Mingyu dead? Lin Feng sneered. When he had come out of the battlefield, Song Mingyu had recognized him and almost killed him. If Holy Lord Peacock and King Zhanpeng hadn't arrived, he would have died. Lin Feng naturally hadn't forgotten about Song Mingyu. He didn't have a good impression of the Yin-Yang sect, an ancient sect. Lin Feng didn't have a good impression of them. Brat, how dare you be so impudent to the ancestor of the Yin-Yang sect? The fiery Dragahawk Knight looked at Lin Feng with a gloomy expression. You're courting death. How dare you be so impudent to me? Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He stepped forward and directly attacked the fiery Dragahawk Knight with his palm. I'll kill you! The fiery Dragahawk Knight roared and attacked Lin Feng. However, he wasn't a match for Lin Feng at all. Lin Feng destroyed his Dantian in 3 moves. After that, Lin Feng used the soul-searching technique to search for the secrets in the fiery Dragahawk Knight's soul. However, the fiery Dragahawk Knight's soul was sealed. When Lin Feng tried to search his soul, the seal instantly destroyed his soul. Chapter 12:27. More than 10 elders from the immortal ancient empire were escorting the 7th prince into the distance. The 7th prince was one of the top geniuses of the immortal ancient empire, a supreme genius. Kill! The void split open, and shouts shook the heavens. Countless cultivators charged over. Break out! Escort the young master away! The elders from the immortal ancient empire roared. They did their best to kill the enemies, but there were too many of them. No matter how strong they were, they couldn't break out of the army. Pooh! In the end, an expert killed the 7th prince in midair. Kill! In another area, the immortal ancient empire's only princess was also surrounded. The battle here was even more intense. The elders who were escorting the princess frantically tried to break out of the encirclement. However, more and more people were killed. The immortal ancient empire's princess was also seriously injured, and her face was pale. Sacrifice the divine artifact, the immortal ancient dragon boat! The leader of the elders roared. Immediately, one of the elders took out a divine artifact, and they allowed the princess to enter the immortal ancient dragon prefecture. Bang, bang, bang. Following that, the elders chose to self-detonate. After they self-detonated, their flesh, blood, and soul essence were completely devoured by the divine artifact. Great uncle, fifth uncle! The immortal ancient empire's princess wept. Her heart was filled with pain and hatred as she watched her loved ones die in front of her. The elders self-detonated without fear of death, and they successfully activated the immortal ancient dragon boat. The precious artifact broke through the void and brought the immortal ancient empire's princess away. Blazing Mulberry Town was located outside the famous ancient Blazing Mulberry Forest. It was 13,000 li away from the immortal ancient empire. This was a place one had to pass to enter the ancient Blazing Mulberry Forest. Thus, people from all walks of life came and went. Lin Feng arrived at Blazing Mulberry Town. He found a decent restaurant and ordered some food. The surrounding cultivators were all discussing the destruction of the immortal ancient empire. Have you heard? The immortal ancient empire was destroyed by the Yin Yang sect, the Fortune Gate, the Tao Heaven sect, and the Broken Sky Pavilion, a cultivator said. These four powers were the top powers of the central continent. Even in the Tianwu continent's 3,000 prefectures, they were the most powerful force. Of course I have. However, I wonder why the four great powers would destroy the immortal ancient country? I heard that a living 9-orifice stone man was found in immortal ancient country. Many cultivators sucked in a breath of cold air. There was no need to describe the strength of the stone tribe, but the stone tribe was also divided into different grades. The most powerful stone clan was the 9-orifice stone clan. It was said that once he grew up, he would be comparable to a great emperor. Within the 9-hold stone clan, the 9-hold stone humanoid was publicly acknowledged as the strongest clan. It's said that the 9-orifice stone hand held the heavenly book, and the heavenly book was imprinted with endless Tao laws. It hid a great secret, another cultivator said. This news was too shocking. It could be said to be earth-shattering. The 9-orifices stone man was already enough to shock countless people. Now, the 9-orifices stone man was actually holding a heavenly book. The 9-orifices stone man discovered in immortal ancient country was enough to shock the world. Although immortal ancient country was far more powerful than ordinary desolate era powers, their foundation was lacking. They simply couldn't contend against the four top powers. They had great treasures, but they couldn't protect them. Their destruction was within reason. A cultivator sighed. This was the cruelty of the world of cultivators. Without enough strength, one was destined to be an ant or a dog. Immortal ancient country's destruction was full of sorrow. So many people had died miserably. This was perhaps the truest reality of the world of cultivators. Countless cultivators shed blood every day. Countless people died miserably. Lin Feng drank by himself. He had experienced the immortal ancient country's breakout and personally witnessed rivers of blood. Corpses were piled up like mountains in immortal ancient country's capital. Those who saw it shed tears and those who heard it grieved. However, Lin Feng was powerless to change anything. Not long after, news spread throughout immortal ancient country. 3 princes had already been killed, and the elders who had escorted Princess Gu Yuru had all died. Gu Yuru had escaped with injuries. As for the little Prince Gu Yijun, there was still no news about him. The 4 great powers are going to completely wipe us out. Many people sighed. Countless people have died miserably. The people are in a terrible situation. These top powers killed so many people for their own selfish desires. Aren't they afraid of retribution? A cultivator angrily said. However, his companions hurriedly covered his mouth. They were only ordinary loose cultivators. Perhaps they sympathized with the deaths of innocent people, but they definitely shouldn't talk about the 4 great powers in private. Those 4 great powers were too powerful. Talking about them in private could very well bring about a fatal disaster. Lin Feng paid the bill and left the restaurant. He directly went to the Mercenary Union to find out how to get to the Central Union of Spirit Array Masters. The Central Continent was too big. A single continent was bigger than the 72 northern continents. It wasn't easy to find an ancient city with a space-time wormhole. You want to go to the Central Union of Spirit Array Masters? Is this young master a Spirit Array Master? You want to go to the Central Union of Spirit Array Masters to participate in the 3000 Continents tournament? When the elder of the Mercenary Union heard that Lin Feng wanted to go to the Central Union of Spirit Array Masters, his attitude immediately became amiable. Lin Feng asked in surprise, "The 3000 Continents tournament? What's that?" The elder said, "So you're not going to participate in the 3000 Continents tournament?" The elder of the Mercenary Union's attitude became cold and indifferent again. Lin Feng threw him a bag of mid-grade spirit stones. When the elder of the Mercenary Union opened the bag and saw over 100 mid-grade spirit stones, his eyes widened. He accepted them without a trace, and a warm smile appeared on his face as he said, "The 3000 Continents tournament gathers the most talented Spirit Array Masters in the 3000 continents. Not only are the rewards generous, but those with good results can also cultivate in the Central Union of Spirit Array Masters' Sacred Tower. It's said that the Sacred Tower contains the most ancient inheritance of Spirit Array Masters. Moreover, the Sacred Tower can control the flow of time. Cultivating in the Sacred Tower for a month is equivalent to cultivating in the outside world for a year. Naturally, countless Spirit Array Masters will go crazy over it. So that's how it is." Lin Feng nodded. He hadn't heard about the 3000 Continents tournament from Murong Baichuan, but with Lin Feng's ability, he wouldn't participate in the tournament like the other Spirit Array Masters. With his status, ability, and status in the Central Union of Spirit Array Masters, he could even become the chief examiner of the tournament. The elder of the Mercenary Union continued, "If you want to go to the Central Union of Spirit Array Masters, the nearest space-time wormhole is in the northwest of Jianbei City. It will take you more than a month to reach there." Lin Feng nodded and left the Mercenary Union. At this moment, night had already fallen. Lin Feng rented a courtyard and planned to rest for 3 days before leaving. The moon was bright as he sat in the courtyard and drank alone. At this moment, the sound of something breaking through the air could be heard in the distance. Chapter 12:28. A figure landed in the courtyard as fast as lightning. It was an extremely beautiful woman. Her clothes were stained with blood, and her face was as pale as paper. After landing, she made a gesture at Lin Feng, then hid in a dark corner of the courtyard. It was her, the princess of immortal ancient country, Guyuru. Obviously, Guyuru did not recognize him, the cultivator who had broken out with her. However, it was normal when he thought about it. It had been so chaotic back then, and there had been so many people. Guyuru, who had suffered so many heavy blows, was in a state of grief. How could she have been in the mood to observe the wandering cultivators around her? It's rumored that the elders who had escorted Guyuru had all died tragically. Only Guyuru managed to escape. It seems like the rumors are true. Even Guyuru's current situation is not good. Her face is as pale as paper, and her breathing is chaotic. It's obvious that she has suffered serious injuries. Lin Feng could not help but ponder. He must be hiding in the surroundings. "Search for him!" a cultivator shouted. "Fresh blood, there's fresh blood here. It's this courtyard." Soon, the cultivators who had chased after them discovered the fresh blood on the ground. Guyuru, who was hiding in a dark corner, became even paler. Bang, then, the door was kicked into pieces. A group of 10 cultivators rushed in. There were 2 fire dragon hawks circling in the sky. It was obvious that the fire dragon hawk riders had locked onto this place. The group of people were slightly stunned when they saw Lin Feng drinking alone. Then, the leader of the cultivators waved his hand and said with a cold smile, "Kill him immediately, then search the entire courtyard. Search every nook and cranny carefully. That woman must be here." These people were experts from the four great powers. They were all ruthless characters who killed without batting an eyelid. "Yes." Two cultivators immediately rushed towards Lin Feng. "Wait!" Suddenly, Gu Yuru's voice came from the corner. Gu Yuru, whose white clothes were stained with blood, walked out. She said, "This matter has nothing to do with him. I accidentally entered his resting place. Let him go, and I'll go with you." Lin Feng was surprised. This Gu Yuru's character was not bad. She could not even protect herself, but she was still considerate of others and did not want to implicate the innocent. "It's you!" Suddenly, a cold voice came from the sky. A fiery dragon hawk knight looked coldly at Lin Feng. When Lin Feng was being chased by a fire dragon hawk knight, the other fire dragon hawk knights also saw it. However, they thought that Lin Feng was dead, so they didn't chase after him. But in the end, the fire dragon hawk knight who chased after Lin Feng was killed. Although they didn't know what happened, these fire dragon hawk knights remembered Lin Feng. The dignity of a fiery dragon hawk knight was not to be challenged. Now many of the fiery dragon hawk knights were rubbing their fists, waiting to meet Lin Feng and then kill Lin Feng, to wash away the shame that Lin Feng brought to the fire dragon hawk knights. "He's too dazzling. His light can't be blocked no matter how hard we try. How could he be recognized in this broken place?" Lin Feng sighed. The corners of many people's mouths twitched. Many people muttered, "Why is this guy so shameless?" He was actually blowing his own trumpet. Although Gu Yura didn't recognize Lin Feng, when she heard the fire dragon hawk knight's words, she couldn't help but think, "This guy seems to have a grudge against the fire dragon hawk knight?" Gu Yura was very surprised. When she saw the fire dragon hawk knight gnashing his teeth, he seemed to have a deep hatred for Lin Feng. The cultivator in front of her seemed to be in his 20s. She knew most of the top young cultivators in the Central Plains, but she didn't recognize this guy. This meant that he wasn't one of the top young cultivators in the Central Plains. Gu Yura didn't know Lin Feng's identity, nor did she know why Lin Feng had a grudge against the fire dragon hawk knight. However, when she saw that Lin Feng was still blowing his own trumpet after being recognized by a fire dragon hawk knight, Gu Yura felt both angry and amused. This guy was about to be killed by a fire dragon hawk knight, but he didn't seem worried at all. She didn't know if there was something wrong with his brain, or if he really didn't fear death. Gu Yura couldn't help but think, "Since this guy is going to die, there's no need for me to be captured by these people just to save him. Since that's the case, I'll just die here with him. It's better than falling into the hands of these people. If I fall into their hands, I don't know how much torture I'll have to endure." Screech! At this moment, a sharp screech came from the sky. Two fire dragon hawks swooped down at high speed. The two fire dragon hawk knights grabbed the chains on the fire dragon hawks. One of them was holding a sword, while the other was holding a spear. They were charging toward Lin Feng. This made Gu Yura very surprised. Did they really need to mobilize two fire dragon hawk knights to deal with an unknown young cultivator? These fire dragon hawk knights were ancient giants of the life and death realm. Their cultivation bases were unfathomable. When the fire dragon hawk knights attacked together with their fire dragon hawks, the destructive power was incomparably terrifying. That brat actually attracted the two lords to attack together. What did he do? What did he do to make the two lords so angry? Many people were puzzled. No matter what Lin Feng did, in these people's eyes, Lin Feng was definitely going to die this time. When Gu Yura saw the two fire dragon hawk knights swooping down on their fire dragon hawks, she wanted to help Lin Feng block them. However, this pulled at the wounds on her body, causing her to involuntarily spit out a mouthful of blood. During this period of time, Gu Yura had been running for her life. She did not even have the time to heal her wounds. She had relied on her willpower to prevent herself from fainting. When Gu Yuru spat out the blood that had accumulated on her chest, she could no longer hold on. She only felt her vision turn black, and her body fell limply to the ground. Lin Feng reacted quickly and pulled Gu Yuru into his embrace. This brat is about to die, and he still has tender feelings for the fairer sex? Many people curled their lips. Die! At this moment, the two fire dragon hawk knights had already charged over. The weapons in their hands were all aimed at Lin Feng. You don't know the meaning of death. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He raised his right hand. A blade light condensed in the void and slashed out. Pooh! Next, a ripping sound was heard. The two fire dragon hawk knights, who were ancient giants, did not even have the chance to scream before they were cut in half by Lin Feng, together with their mounts. Run! Hurry up and run! All the cultivators screamed in terror. They were practically scared out of their wits. They had never seen such a terrifying existence. He had killed two life and death realm fire dragon hawk knights in an instant. How powerful was his cultivation base to be able to do this? Now, these people only hoped that they could escape. Come together, leave together. You won't be lonely on the road to the Yellow Springs. Lin Feng carried Gu Yuru and walked into the distance. Lin Feng took a step forward, freezing the world. The cultivators who were running away were all frozen into ice sculptures. They stood on the spot, not moving at all. Chapter 1229. Yansang Town. The experts of the four superpowers arrived one after another. Outside of Lin Feng's courtyard, many cultivators had already gathered and were whispering to each other. Each of the four superpowers had sent a rebirth realm expert. Yin Yang Sect Song Mingyu. Fortune Gate Zhang Shenmu. Dao Heaven Sect Wan Yangzhong. Heaven Shattering Pavilion Yuan Dong. The four rebirth realm experts' expressions were gloomy. Melt the ice and save them, said Song Mingyu. Alchemists were alchemists. Immediately, an alchemist walked out and summoned a flame to melt the ice. Crack, crack. After the flame burned the ice for a while, the layer of ice cracked, and soon, the ice shattered. Even the bodies of the cultivators sealed in the ice were shattered into pieces. Sir, their bodies have been completely frozen. They're already dead, said the alchemist. Song Mingyu nodded. Who is that kid? How is he so powerful? Asked Song Mingyu with a gloomy expression. Brother Song, there's no need to be anxious. The artist is drawing the appearance of that cultivator based on the description given by the courtyard's owner. We'll know who he is soon. Fortune Gates Junction was said. Song Mingyu nodded. A quarter of an hour later, a cultivator quickly walked over with a drawn portrait in his hand. Sirs, please take a look. The cultivator unfolded the drawing. The four rebirth realm experts looked over. It's him! Song Mingyu's eyes lit up. Brother Song, you know him? Who is he? Wan Yangzhong's heart trembled, and he couldn't help but ask. Song Mingyu lowered his voice and said, He's Lin Feng. What? He's that person. Zhang Shenmu, Wan Yangzhong, and Yuan Dong were pleasantly surprised. The three of them didn't call out Lin Feng's name, as if they were worried that the walls might be eavesdropping. Seeing Song Mingyu nod, the three of them revealed greedy looks. Investigate secretly. We must capture that kid. His divine abilities and wealth are unimaginable. That's right. It's best not to make this matter public. The more people who know about it, the more people will want to get a share of it. Let's form an alliance. No matter who catches that little boy, we'll share his treasures, not take them for ourselves, said Lin Feng. Of course. We'll send our trusted subordinates to search for him. The four rebirth realm experts quickly came to an agreement. Gu Yuru felt that her body was limp and she was mentally exhausted. She tried her best to open her eyes. Even after trying for a long time, she still couldn't succeed. Soon, endless exhaustion engulfed her. Gu Yuru fainted again. When Gu Yuru woke up, the sky was filled with stars. I'm not dead? Gu Yuru was in disbelief. She clearly remembered that before she fainted, she had been surrounded by the experts of the 4 major forces. That was a situation of certain death. Why didn't he die? He didn't look like he was being imprisoned. What happened? Creak, the door opened and Lin Feng walked in. You're awake. It seems that you're fine. Take this pill and your body will recover faster. Lin Feng took out a pill and placed it in front of the bed. We're not dead? Gu Yura sat up and asked in disbelief. Lin Feng nodded and said, Of course not. If we were dead, why would we still be here talking? At that moment, Gu Yura suddenly realized that her clothes had been changed into clean ones. Her face immediately turned red. Your clothes were stained with blood. I asked the aunties in this house to change your clothes and treat your wounds. You don't have to worry, Lin Feng said. Thank you, Gu Yura said with a red face. She then took the pill that Lin Feng had placed at the bedside and swallowed it. As the pill's effects spread, Gu Yura felt much more comfortable. Her face also regained some color. Rest for a few days and your body will recover by 60 to 70%. After a few more months, your injured meridians will be completely healed. Let's part ways here, Lin Feng said. Young master, please wait, Gu Yura called out. Lin Feng said helplessly. Is there anything else? She said leisurely. If my guess is correct, you must have saved Yuru. I'm indebted to you for saving my life, but may I know your name? Can you tell me? Lin Feng said. We met by chance, and we might not meet again in the future. Why bother? Gu Yura asked. Have we met before? In a mortal ancient country. Lin Feng raised his brows slightly and asked. Why do you ask? Since you were able to save Yura from the encirclement of so many experts, you should know how powerful you are. In the central continent, Yura knows many geniuses of your age, but I don't know you. The fiery Dragonhawk Knights hate you so much that they haven't come out for 100 years. Thus, the only possibility that you might have formed a grudge with them is in immortal ancient country's capital. I suddenly recalled that back then, 700 to 800 independent cultivators were chased by the fiery Dragonhawk Knights. You might have been one of them, but you were powerful enough to kill the fiery Dragonhawk Knights. Is Yuru's guess correct? Gu Yura looked at Lin Feng and asked. Lin Feng nodded and said, I have to say that you are very meticulous and intelligent. You were actually able to connect so many things together, and your guess is basically correct. Gu Yura stood up and bowed slightly to Lin Feng. May I know your name now? Lin Feng. Gu Yura was shocked and said, I've heard so much about you. Lin Feng replied, You have an undeserved reputation. Let's part ways here. Gu Yura said, Sir, Yura has a presumptuous request. Since it's a presumptuous request, don't mention it. I don't want to cause any more trouble for myself. Lin Feng said. Sir, can you bear to see Yura die tragically at the hands of the 4 great powers? Gu Yura said with tears in her eyes. Aren't you fine now? As long as you're careful, you can definitely avoid this calamity, Lin Feng said. Gu Yura asked. Sir, have you heard of the 9 Orifices Stone Man viewing the heavenly book? Lin Feng immediately stopped and said, The 4 great powers destroyed immortal ancient country because of this 9 Orifices Stone Man, right? That's right. Gu Yura nodded. Her expression was somewhat sad, as if she was thinking about her loved ones who had died because of this. Gu Yura paused for a moment before continuing. As long as you agree to escort me to a certain place, I can allow you to view the 9 Orifices Stone Man. The 9 Orifices Stone Man is from the Stone Race, and the Stone Race is still in the process of being nurtured. What's there to view? Lin Feng shrugged. The heavenly book in the 9 Orifices Stone Man's possession contains a huge secret, Gu Yura said. All right, deal. Chapter 1230. This was an ancient mountain village, and it was also where Lin Feng and Gu Yuru were resting for the time being. There were around 300 to 400 villagers in the village. The village was very quiet, and very few people came here. The villagers were very simple and warm, and they were very hospitable. Not far away, There was a mountain temple, and the villagers would go there every day to worship, praying that everyone would be safe and sound, and that the village's hunting team would return safely. Perhaps this is what faith is. Lin Feng and Gu Yura stood at the entrance of the village, looking at the villagers kneeling in front of the mountain temple. Most of the time, only those with faith will have love. Without faith, there will be no restrictions, and they will become very terrifying. They can even kill people like flies. Gu Yura's eyes were filled with hatred. Gu Yura was obviously implying something. The cultivators of the four great powers did not have faith. They believed that strength could control everything. Because they did not have faith, they were not bound by any restrictions. They could kill the innocent, or even destroy an entire country without any psychological burden. Lin Feng said, "Faith is something that exists if you believe it, and it doesn't exist if you don't." He paused, looked at Gu Yura's beautiful face, and said, "Now, can you tell me where you want to go?" "I want to go to the Qin family," Gu Yura said. "What kind of family is that?" "I've never heard of it," Lin Feng said. "It's a hidden family that rarely comes out. Most people don't know much about the Qin family, but their strength is definitely terrifying," Gu Yura said. Lin Feng thought of some legends. It was said that there were some hidden families in the Tianwu continent, and some of them were extremely powerful. They could even contend with the Jiang family and the four ancient empires. Now that he heard from Gu Yura that there was a hidden clan like the Primeval Qin clan, it seemed that the rumors about hidden clans were not groundless, but real. "Is the Qin family related to your immortal ancient country?" Lin Feng asked. "My mother was the daughter of the second elder of the Qin family," Gu Yura said sadly. Her mother had died tragically in that battle. Thinking about what had happened that day, Gu Yura was still very sad. Lin Feng said, "In that case, the Qin family can be considered your grandfather's and grandmother's family. In terms of bloodline, you can be considered a direct descendant of the Qin family. It's indeed a good place to go." At night, Gu Yura took out the 9-orifice stone man. The 9-orifice stone golem was about 2 meters tall and had 9 orifices. Now, the 9 orifices were spewing out the essence of the sun and moon. The 9-orifice man was holding a heavenly book. This was a wordless heavenly book made of stone. There were 3 divine runes on it, which seemed to be the divine runes of the heavenly Tao. If a cultivator looked at it carefully, they would have a splitting headache. Lin Feng looked at the 9-orifice stone man in astonishment. It was truly astonishing, because it had a powerful life force. It meant that it was still alive and was in the process of being nurtured. No wonder the 4 great powers had not hesitated to destroy immortal ancient country. It was too astonishing. If it could be nurtured successfully, it might become a great emperor in the future. Of course, the 9-orifice stone man wasn't the only thing that was astonishing. The heavenly book in its hand was definitely hiding a great secret. The 3 heavenly Tao imprints were too extraordinary. Lin Feng found it difficult to comprehend their mysteries. "I've heard that you're called the Little Stone Saint. You have an extraordinary understanding of stones. This 9-orifice stone man. What do you think?" Gu Yura looked at Lin Feng and asked. "The great Tao is flawed when a stone race is nurtured, so the chances of a stone race being nurtured are extremely low. Even if a stone race is nurtured, it will be a low-level one. The higher the level, the more difficult it is to nurture one. In the dazzling immemorial era, a high-level stone race was able to nurture a sacred battle ape," Lin Feng said slowly. "Let's go back a little further. It's been billions of years since the immemorial era ended. Have you heard of a stone race being nurtured that is as powerful as a sacred battle ape? Famous throughout history?" Gu Yura shook her head. "I've never heard of such a thing." "Why is that?" Lin Feng said. "The reason is what I just said, the great Tao is flawed." Gu Yura asked doubtfully. "What do you mean by that?" Lin Feng explained. "The stone race, especially the high-level stone race, is too heaven-defying. That's why their great Tao is incomplete when they're nurtured. It's like a human giving birth to a child, but the child dies as soon as it's born. That's called premature death. The stone race is nurtured by nature. If their great Tao is incomplete, it's like a woman giving birth to a baby after 10 months of pregnancy, but the baby dies prematurely. That's why it's so difficult for a stone race to be nurtured. Pausing for a moment, Lin Feng pointed at the nine-orifice stone man's wordless heavenly book and said, "Right now, this stone man is holding the wordless heavenly book, and there are 3 divine imprints on it. Those are the divine imprints of the heavenly Tao, called the Great Tao of Mending Imperfections. They correspond to the Great Tao of Imperfections." Gu Yuru's eyes lit up. The Great Tao of Imperfections? The nine-orifice stone man is using the wordless heavenly book to mend the Great Tao of Imperfections, just like a child learning how to read? Learning from nothing, learning from nothing. The wordless heavenly book in the nine-orifice stone man's hand is also used to mend its own imperfections. Does that mean that the nine-orifice stone man can be nurtured successfully? Lin Feng said. I'm not sure if it can be nurtured successfully, but the chances of success will be greatly increased. Gu Yuru nodded and said, You stay here and study the nine-orifice stone man. I'm going to rest. Lin Feng smiled. Aren't you afraid that I'll take your stone man and leave? Gu Yuru replied, I don't think you're that kind of person. As soon as she finished speaking, she returned to her room. I never thought that I would be so charismatic. Lin Feng rubbed his chin. He sat down cross-legged and took out the 9-colored illusory stone to study the 3 divine marks on the wordless heavenly book. However, no matter how hard Lin Feng tried, he couldn't comprehend the secrets of the wordless heavenly book. Lin Feng was a bit discouraged, but also a bit helpless. When dawn was about to break, Lin Feng shook his head. He decided to give up. There was no way he could comprehend the secrets of the wordless heavenly book. At that moment, a voice suddenly rang out in Lin Feng's mind. It's not impossible to comprehend the secrets of the wordless heavenly book. Do you want to make a deal with me? It's you. When he heard the voice, Lin Feng was astonished. The person who had spoken to him was the Holy Spirit that Lin Feng had sealed in Holy Stone City. Chapter 1231. The Holy Spirit was extremely terrifying. If Lin Feng hadn't obtained the inheritance of the Celestial Master Taoist, he would have been killed by the Holy Spirit during the chaos in Holy Stone City. After a bitter battle, Lin Feng sealed the Holy Spirit and kept it in the cauldron. The Holy Spirit hadn't moved for a long time. Now, the Holy Spirit was taking the initiative to talk to him. Lin Feng hadn't expected this. Tell me the details, said the Holy Spirit. Said Lin Feng. I can help you comprehend the contents of the wordless heavenly book, but you have to let me go, said the Holy Spirit. Lin Feng hesitated. The Holy Spirit was too terrifying. It had to have an extraordinary background. If he let it go, it would come back to kill him in the future. Wouldn't that be like letting a tiger go back to the mountains? The Holy Spirit seemed to know what Lin Feng was thinking. It said, We don't have any grudges against each other. If you let me go, I'll help you comprehend the contents of the wordless heavenly book. Then we'll go our separate ways. If we meet again in the future, we won't attack each other. What do you think? Said Lin Feng. All right, if that's the case, let's make a blood oath. I, the Little Stone King, swear on the honor of the Stone King clan that I will help Lin Feng comprehend the 3 marks of the wordless heavenly book. If Lin Feng lets me go, I will never attack Lin Feng again. If I violate this oath, I will be struck by lightning and die a horrible death. The Holy Spirit made a blood oath. Little Stone King? Murmured Lin Feng. He frowned. The Holy Spirit was definitely from one of the most terrifying clans. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been called Little Stone King, said the Little Stone King telepathically. I've made a blood oath. To be fair, you should make a blood oath as well. Lin Feng nodded and pointed his right hand at the sky. I, Lin Feng, swear to the heavens that if the Little Stone King helps me comprehend the 3 marks of the wordless heavenly book, I will return the Little Stone King's freedom. From now on, I will never attack you again. If I violate this oath, I will die a horrible death. Lin Feng made a blood oath. Lin Feng and the Little Stone King condensed a talisman each. It was a talisman of a blood oath. The talisman flew into their heads. I've made a blood oath. Little Stone King. Said Lin. Little Stone King said. Said the Little Stone King. All right. I'll teach you a method called the Stone Embryo Scripture. This Stone Embryo Scripture can help you sense the emotions and thoughts of the stone embryo. It can even help you steal some of the stone embryo's memories. Said Lin Feng. What a tyrannical method. Back then, many of the stones in Holy Stone City were destroyed. Was that related to you? If I'm not mistaken, this stone embryo scripture can't be as simple as just sensing the emotions and memories of the stone embryo, right? It can also steal the life force of various stones, right? Said the Little Stone King. You're quite smart. You guessed it right away. Lin Feng laughed and said, Let's make another deal, shall we? I want to learn the complete stone embryo scripture. I can give you anything you want. What do you think? Sneered the Little Stone King. Do you think I want something from you? If the Stone Royal clan finds out about it, they'll cripple me, and you'll also die. Lin Feng frowned. That's right. You've learned the Stone Embryo Scripture from the Stone Royal clan, so you'll die. Stone King clan? You're from the Stone King clan? What kind of clan is that? Asked Lin Feng curiously. That clan has killed a few great emperors. I won't tell you more. Said the Little Stone King. Hiss. Lin Feng couldn't help but gasp. This was too shocking. The Stone King clan could actually kill great emperors. How heaven-defying was that? Lin Feng knew that he couldn't ask any more questions. Even if he did, the Little Stone King wouldn't tell him anything. Even if the Little Stone King dared to tell him, Lin Feng wouldn't dare listen anymore. Hearing things that he shouldn't have heard could lead to a fatal disaster. Lin Feng was very clear about this. Lin Feng started comprehending the stone embryo scripture. For 3 days, Lin Feng was in seclusion, studying the stone embryo scripture. When are we leaving? Asked Guyuru. She wanted to go to the immemorial Chen clan, but Lin Feng didn't seem to have any intention of leaving. She had no choice but to ask. Soon, said Lin Feng. On the 5th day, Lin Feng's room was filled with laughter. Yuru, lend me the 9 orifices stone man for a night, said Lin Feng. Didn't you fail to comprehend the secrets within? You still want to try? Asked Guyuru. Said Lin Feng. I want to hug it and sleep. Maybe I'll be able to comprehend some things. Shameless. Guyuru blushed and couldn't help but spit at Lin Feng. She then took out the 9 orifices stone man. Lin Feng put the 9 orifices stone man on his shoulder and walked outside. Be careful, don't destroy it, reminded Guyuru. She was really worried that Lin Feng would destroy the 9 orifices stone man. Don't worry, I'll return it to you in perfect condition, said Lin Feng as he walked out. Night fell. The 9 orifices stone man spat out the essence of the sun and moon. Lin Feng circulated the stone embryo scripture. Gradually, Lin Feng really felt the 9 orifices stone man's emotions. It was a spiritual fluctuation that was extremely thirsty. It was a thirst for the 3 heavenly Tao divine imprints. Lin Feng circulated the stone embryo scripture to steal the 9 orifices stone man's memories. The 9 orifices stone man's memories were blank. The only thing it remembered was the 3 blurry heavenly Tao divine imprints. The 9 orifices stone man had comprehended them after observing the wordless heavenly book for 380 million years. Lin Feng was shocked. This 9 orifices stone man was truly heaven-defying. It had been nurtured for 380 million years and it still hadn't succeeded. If it succeeded, how heaven-defying would it be? It would probably be a second sacred battle ape. Lin Feng successfully stole the 3 heavenly Tao divine imprints from the 9 orifices stone man's memories. He carefully sensed the 3 heavenly Tao divine imprints. When Lin Feng's spiritual will fused with the 3 heavenly Tao divine imprints, he sensed 3 different powers from the 3 heavenly Tao divine imprints. The first power was like the replay of his previous life. The second power was like the various powers of his current life. The third power was like the replay of the future. The past, the present, the future. These three heavenly Tao divine imprints were imprinted with these three terrifying powers. Lin Feng's heart trembled. He couldn't believe it. This was too heaven-defying. If he could control the past, present, and future powers, how heaven-defying would that be? Would he be able to bury the gods? Bury the emperor? Bury the universe, bury the endless worlds. Chapter 1232. Buddhism had the past, present, and future. There were Dipankara, Tathagata, and Maitreya. These three ancient Buddhas were in charge of the legendary Western Buddhist realm. Dipankara controlled the power of the past, Tathagata controlled the power of the present, and Maitreya controlled the power of the future. There was a saying that 10,000 years was too long. Seize every moment. Whether it was the present or the future, it was fleeting for cultivators. Now, the struggle of the present was the life of a cultivator. Therefore, in Buddhism, Tathagata, who controlled the power of the present, suppressed Dipankara and Maitreya, becoming the ancestor of Buddhism. Dipankara, Tathagata, and Maitreya, any one of the three ancient Buddhas could kill a great emperor. They had only grasped one of the three powers of the past, present, and future, yet they already possessed such terrifying strength. The memories Lin Feng stole from the 9 orifices stone man contained the past, present, and future. If he could completely control these three powers, it would be too terrifying. Of course, Lin Feng also knew that it wasn't easy to understand the three celestial Tao godly marks in his brain and control the strength of the past, present, and future. However, no matter how difficult it was, Lin Feng would continue to comprehend them. Even if he couldn't comprehend the mysteries, Lin Feng wouldn't lose anything. However, if Lin Feng could comprehend the past, present, and future heavenly Tao divine runes, that would be terrifying. With 3 kinds of celestial Tao godly marks, Lin Feng might be able to kill gods even before he became a god. Even before he became a great emperor, he might be able to defy the heavens and kill great emperors. Of course, this was only Lin Feng's speculation. Anything was possible. It seems like you've comprehended the mysteries within. Now it's time to fulfill your promise. Little Stone King transmitted his voice to Lin Feng. Whoosh! Lin Feng waved his right hand and summoned Little Stone King, who was suppressed in the 4 vicious cauldron, out by Lin Feng. He broke the seal on Little Stone King's body. Lin Feng then asked, "Since you are from the Stone King clan, the Stone King clan should not be on the Martial Heaven continent. Why are you here?" Little Stone remained silent for a moment before saying, "Don't ever underestimate the continent of the Celestial Martial Continent. The continent of the Celestial Martial Continent is the most terrifying secret in the universe." Lin Feng frowned as he pondered over Little Stone King's words. "Let me give you a free reminder. The world is about to change. Hurry up and improve your strength. When the world changes, if you still have your current strength, it won't be easy for you to live a dignified life like a normal person." After Little Stone King finished speaking, he soared into the sky and flew into the distance. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared without a trace. "What's the rush?" Lin Feng could not help but exclaim in a somewhat speechless manner. He also wanted to ask Little Stone King what he meant by the world is about to change. But now that Little Stone King had left in a hurry, Lin Feng could not ask him anymore. "This Little Stone King knows a lot of things that I don't." Lin Feng shook his head and sat down cross-legged. He began to comprehend the heavenly Tao divine imprints that recorded the past, present, and future abilities. The next day, early in the morning, Lin Feng returned the 9 orifices stone man to Guyuru. "How was it?" asked Guyuru. Lin Feng sighed and said, "What could I possibly gain?" Guyuru said, "It's fine. Maybe you'll gain something after a few more days." "Forget it. I don't want to waste any more time. Let's leave today," said Lin Feng. Guyuru looked at Lin Feng suspiciously. Even though she had only known Lin Feng for a short time, she felt that she had a good eye for people. From her point of view, Lin Feng was definitely not someone who would give up easily. But now, Lin Feng had given up on the 9 orifices stone man. Could it be that he had comprehended the wordless heavenly book's secret? Thinking of this, Guyura's heart was in turmoil. The 9 orifices stone man had been in immortal ancient country for hundreds of years, but no one had been able to comprehend its mysteries. But Lin Feng had managed to comprehend it in just a few days. This was too heaven-defying. However, Guyura did not show it. She said without batting an eyelid. "All right, let's say goodbye to the villagers and leave." Lin Feng nodded. The two of them bid farewell to the villagers. These villagers were very simple and kind. They had taken good care of Lin Feng and Guyura over the past few days, which made them feel very touched. Lin Feng and Guyura each left a Tao artifact for the village chief, which could be of great use at crucial moments. After leaving behind many spirit stones, some cultivation techniques, and divine abilities, Lin Feng and Guyura left. The immemorial Qin family was also located in the central continent. In the following month, Lin Feng and Guyura leisurely went to many places and took a teleportation array to the immemorial Qin family's hidden place. The ancient dragon forest was the immemorial Qin family's hidden place. This ancient dragon forest was a forbidden area in the central continent. This was because there were huge dragons living in the forest. There was no need to say much about the strength of the huge dragon tribe. The huge dragon tribe had a very strong concept of territory. They would mercilessly devour any cultivators who dared to casually enter the ancient dragon forest. Therefore, no cultivators dared to casually enter the ancient dragon forest. What the world did not know was that in the dangerous ancient dragon forest, there was a strong and ancient power that had become neighbors with the overlord of the ancient dragon forest, the huge dragon tribe. This power was the immemorial Qin family. This endless ancient forest is the famous ancient dragon forest. It stretches for 765 million kilometers. Lin Feng and Guyura arrived at the outer region of the ancient dragon forest. The surface area of the ancient dragon forest was simply too huge. Lin Feng was speechless. The two of them did not stop at the outer region. They directly entered the ancient dragon forest. The ancient dragon forest was eerie and terrifying. The roars of beasts could be heard everywhere. Powerful beasts could be seen at intervals. Lin Feng and Guyura carefully moved forward. 3 days later, Lin Feng and Guyura were ambushed. When they were passing through a dense forest, the array around them flashed and sealed the area. The area within a radius of 5 to 6 miles was completely sealed. Lin Feng and Guyura were trapped in the array. Soon after, shouts of killing could be heard. Densely packed cultivators rushed over from afar. There were at least 1,000 of them. The most despairing thing was that there were destructive auras coming from all 4 directions. After sensing the 4 auras, Lin Feng's face changed. 4 rebirth state experts. "We're dead for sure." Guyura's face turned as white as a sheet. "Lin Feng, you little brat, it's time for you to die." A cold voice came from the south. Song Mingge looked at Lin Feng with a murderous expression. "Since the beginning of time, there have been countless geniuses who died before they could even reach their full potential. Today, the Forest of Dragons will be the place where you die." Zhang Xinmu, Wan Yangzhong, and Yuan Dong also walked over. They looked at Lin Feng as if he was a dead man. Chapter 1233. The current situation was not good for Lin Feng and Guyura. The array was locked down, and the experts were surrounding them. If they were not careful, they would die. The 4 rebirth realm experts were closing in and were about to completely surround Lin Feng and Guyura. "Ha ha! You want to catch me? You are too naive!" At this moment, Lin Feng laughed out loud. Guyura admired Lin Feng more and more. What kind of situation was this? How could he still laugh? Didn't he see that they were in imminent danger? "Excuse me," Lin Feng said softly. Then, he hugged Guyura's waist. Because the weather was hot, Guyura was only covered by a thin veil. It was as if there was nothing there. Lin Feng could feel the flatness of Guyura's stomach. She really did not have any excess flesh. Gu Yura blushed slightly, but she knew that Lin Feng was not trying to take advantage of her. If he really wanted to take advantage of her, he would have done it when she was seriously injured and fainted. Not to mention just hugging her waist. What could Lin Feng not do to her? At that time, she was still at Lin Feng's mercy. However, Lin Feng did not take advantage of her then. How could he take advantage of her now? Whoosh! Lin Feng hugged Gu Yura's waist and quickly rushed into the distance. He wanted to leave this place before the 4 reincarnation realm experts surrounded him. If he waited until the 4 rebirth realm experts surrounded him, he would not be able to escape even if he wanted to. Activate the array and trap him! The 4 rebirth realm experts shouted in a deep voice. Boom, 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 boom. Immediately, the array was activated. Terrifying array runes swept through the void and attacked Lin Feng. Array splitting technique! Lin Feng used the inheritance of the Heavenly Master. The deployment spell around Lin Feng broke apart, but it didn't cause any harm to him. Unless the other party had a Sage-level Spirit Array Master. Otherwise, they would not be able to cause any trouble for Lin Feng. Gu Yura was shocked. Such a powerful formation must have been deliberately arranged by the 4 major forces, but now it was broken by Lin Feng. Was this the inheritance of the Celestial Master Taoism? It was said that the inheritance of the Celestial Master Taoism was unparalleled in the world. Looking at it now, it was indeed true. Stop him! The 4 experts roared angrily and began to prepare their attacks. Attack! The experts of the 4 major forces who were gathering together shouted loudly and began to attack Lin Feng. There were only 4 rebirth realm experts. Their numbers were too few and they occupied 4 positions. Therefore, they were unable to surround Lin Feng. However, there were over 1,000 cultivators there, and they had long since surrounded the place. Facing the attacks from the cultivators, Lin Feng brought out the 4 ferocious cauldron and entered it together with Gu Yuru. Then, the 2 of them activated the 4 vicious cauldrons together. The 4 vicious cauldrons whistled through the air. Clang, clang, clang. Terrifying attacks bombarded the cauldron one after another. All the attacks were blocked by the cauldrons. Then, the 4 vicious cauldrons rushed into the crowd. Bang, bang, bang. Following the violent collisions, one cultivator after another was sent flying by the cauldrons. The moment the cauldrons charged forward, the force of impact was way too strong. All the cultivators who were struck by the cauldrons were smashed to death. Lin Feng and Gu Yura controlled the 4 vicious cauldrons to break through the encirclement and dashed into the distance. The attacks from the 4 rebirth realm experts came crashing down. However, in the end, they could not even touch the 4 vicious cauldrons. Chase! The faces of the 4 rebirth realm experts were extremely gloomy. They had set up an inescapable net, and even set up such a powerful array. Yet, they could not catch Lin Feng and Gu Yuru. This was like a slap to their faces. Everyone chased after Lin Feng and Gu Yuru. However, Lin Feng's speed was simply too fast. He brought Gu Yuru along and dashed into the depths. Roar! 3 days later, Lin Feng and Gu Yuru were attacked by a colossal dragon. This was a colossal creature that was hundreds of meters long. It had wings and looked like a gigantic lizard. Its hind limbs were thick and its front limbs were short. It could spit out lightning attacks. This colossal dragon was exceptionally terrifying. Lin Feng and Gu Yuru were sent flying by the tail of the colossal dragon. They could not help but cough out a mouthful of blood. Soon, another 6 to 7 colossal dragons charged over from afar. Many of them seemed to want a share of the loot. Colossal dragons loved powerful bloodlines. Devouring powerful bloodlines would allow the power of their bloodlines to increase continuously. Lin Feng's bloodline was simply too powerful. These colossal dragons had sharp senses. That was why the colossal dragons in the surroundings had come to surround them. However, the colossal dragon that first discovered Lin Feng roared furiously at the other colossal dragons. Although they could not understand the meaning behind the roar, they could guess that it was probably warning the other colossal dragons to leave quickly and not have any ideas about Lin Feng. Clearly, the colossal dragon that first discovered Lin Feng wanted to take all of Lin Feng's bloodline for himself. The other colossal dragons did not buy it. They roared as well. These colossal dragons did not live together. Each of them had their own territory. Usually, they lived in peace. However, once there was a conflict of interest, they would fight amongst themselves. Lin Feng took the opportunity when these colossal dragons were fighting amongst themselves. He brought Guyuru and dashed into the distance. In an instant, they had shaken off the 7 colossal dragons. The 7 colossal dragons roared furiously and chased after them. "We've reached the colossal dragon's territory." Song Mingyu's expression was grim. Even they did not want to enter the colossal dragon's territory so easily. They had no problem dealing with ordinary colossal dragons, but if they encountered the overlords of the colossal dragon's territory, even an ordinary rebirth realm cultivator would die. "Look, there are 7 colossal dragons roaring in the distance. Could it be that they're chasing Lin Feng and Guyuru?" said Zhang Shenmu in a low voice. "Let's go and take a look." "But everyone be careful," said Yuan Dong. "Everyone be careful," said Yuan Dong. The strong cultivators of the 4 groups chased after them, but after 100 miles, they sensed that something was wrong. The forest was too quiet. There was no sound at all. There were no sounds of insects or birds. Could it be? The hearts of the 4 rebirth realm cultivators suddenly jumped as they thought of a possibility. Boom! 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 In the next instant, an earth-shattering attack emerged from the forest and headed towards them. More than 30 colossal dragons rushed out of their hiding places and floated in the air. They flapped their wings and spat out lightning attacks, dragon breath attacks, draconic incantations, and all sorts of other attacks towards the strong cultivators of the 4 groups. "Not good, we've been surrounded by the dragons. Break out!" The faces of the 4 rebirth realm cultivators changed drastically. They immediately led their people to break out of the encirclement. However, the attacks of the dragon race were simply too powerful. When all kinds of attacks came crashing down, miserable shrieks rang out one after another. Many of the experts from the 4 major forces were killed in an instant. Their blood dyed the sky of the forest of dragons red. Chapter 1234. The 7 gigantic dragons chased after Lin Feng and Guyuru, releasing all sorts of attacks at the same time. Luckily, Lin Feng was fast enough to dodge the dragons' attacks one after another. After running for 3 days and 3 nights, Lin Feng and Guyuru entered an ancient forest. This forest was covered with a large array. After the 7 giant dragons arrived, they did not casually advance. Instead, they let out low roars and left unwillingly. Lin Feng and Guyuru heaved a sigh of relief after entering the large array. They were finally safe for the time being. "Is this the immemorial Chen family's secret place?" Lin Feng asked. Guyuru nodded and said, "This is the outermost region. However, I'm guessing that they have already discovered us. I reckon that there will be people coming here soon. Come with me to rest for a few days before leaving," Lin Feng said. "No need. I still have things to do. It's not convenient for me to stay." At this moment, the sound of something breaking through the air could be heard from afar. It must be the immemorial Chen family's cultivators. Lin Feng did not want to meet them, so he quickly flew in another direction. "How cautious!" Guyuru snorted. Lin Feng was even more careful when he left. He avoided a few giant dragons that came out to hunt for food. Finally, he came out of the giant dragon forest. After leaving the giant dragon forest, Lin Feng flew towards the northwest. That was the direction to the Temple of Spiritual Array Masters. The Temple of Spiritual Array Masters was the holy land in the hearts of countless spiritual array masters. Before he obtained the inheritance of the Celestial Master Path, Lin Feng also yearned for the Temple of Spiritual Array Masters. This was because the Temple of Spiritual Array Masters had the inheritance of ancient arrays. He could receive the best inheritance of Spiritual Array Masters. However, after obtaining the inheritance of the Celestial Master Path, Lin Feng did not care about the ancient inheritances in the Temple of Spiritual Array Masters. Now, the only thing that Lin Feng was interested in was the sacred tower of the Temple of Spiritual Array Masters. It was the sacred embryo that could change the flow of time. In other words, a month in the outside world was equivalent to a year in the sacred tower. 1 year in the outside world was equivalent to 12 years in the sacred tower. If he could enter the sacred tower to cultivate, his cultivation would naturally increase greatly in a short period of time. 10 days later, Lin Feng arrived at a place called Aeon City. There were no space-time wormholes here, only ordinary teleportation arrays. In truth, even in the central region of the Sky Martial continent, there were very few wormholes. Only some top-grade ancient cities would build space-time wormholes because it was too difficult to build one. Lin Feng planned to take the transmission array to one of the 10 great ancient capitals of the central continent, the Great Eastern Ancient Capital. The Great Eastern Ancient Capital had a space-time wormhole that could directly teleport one to the temple city where the Spirit Array Master Temple was located. When Lin Feng entered the teleportation array, 4 terrifying auras instantly enveloped the entire teleportation plaza. 4 terrifying auras sealed Lin Feng. Song Mingyu, Zhang Shenmu, Wan Yangzhong, and Yuan Dong stepped out, their killing intent soaring to the sky. "Let's see how you escape today." The voices of the 4 powerhouses were ice-cold, filled with endless killing intent. Heavens, for Rebirth Realm experts! Who is that kid? Why is he being targeted by 4 Rebirth Realm experts? Many people looked suspiciously at Lin Feng, who was being targeted by 4 Rebirth Realm experts. They were all astonished. He was just a junior. Why would 4 Rebirth Realm experts attack him together? This was simply too inconceivable. However, such an inconceivable thing was indeed true. Song Mingyu, Zhang Shenmu, Wan Yangzhong, and Yuan Dong. Aren't they in charge of encircling the people who escaped from the Immortal Ancient Nation? Is that kid from the Immortal Ancient Nation? That's possible. Maybe he's a prince from the Immortal Ancient Nation? No, the princes of the Immortal Ancient Nation have all been killed. It's possible that he's a prince from one of the Immortal Ancient Nation's princes. No matter who he is, now that he's surrounded by 4 experts, he's definitely going to die. Many people were discussing this spiritedly. As far as they were concerned, Lin Feng was definitely going to die. It's him. Some people in Aeon City recognized Lin Feng. They were very surprised, but then they sneered. Too strong and too many treasures. Seems like it's not a good thing. That cultivator sneered. Brother Qi, what are you mumbling about? Asked that cultivator's friend. Nothing, just watching the show. Brother Qi, do you know the person surrounded by 4 experts? Is he really the prince of the Immortal Ancient Nation? Asked someone. The cultivator's surname Qi was called Shi Wei. He had seen Lin Feng in the Battle of Geniuses, so he knew who Lin Feng was. When he heard his friend's question, he said, "That's Lin Feng." "He's that Lin Feng?" Shi Wei's friend was astonished. Then, one of them said gloatingly, "There are so many geniuses in the world. How many of them turn into skeletons before they can grow up? This Lin Feng's talent is heaven-defying, but he's probably going to follow in the footsteps of those geniuses. He's going to be killed before he can even become an overlord." In the teleportation plaza, Lin Feng's expression was extremely gloomy. He had actually been blocked by these 4 people. This was going to be troublesome. However, Lin Feng wasn't without a way to deal with them. He still had the deity liquid to activate the Black Dragon's sword. However, these 4 were already prepared. If they had brought powerful treasures, they might have been able to block the Black Dragon's sword's attack. At that time, he still wouldn't be able to escape. However, activating the Black Dragon's sword was the only way. Lin Feng knew that he had to take a gamble. Just as Lin Feng was about to attack, suddenly, the void split open. Immediately after, a huge palace flew out. The palace was 100 meters tall and covered an area of 1 square meter. With such a huge palace flying in the air, it was very shocking. Why is such a huge palace flying out? Many people cried out in alarm. Lin Gongzi, quickly come in. A charming and seductive voice sounded. Hearing this voice, Lin Feng was surprised. It was actually this woman. Use the divine artifacts to kill him! Song Mingyu shouted in a deep voice. Swish, cold light flashed. The 4 Rebirth Realm experts each took out a divine artifact. Dark Hell Sword, Fortune Spear, Heavenly Dragon Dagger Axe, Solar Star Ruler. The 4 great divine artifacts were famous in the Central Continent. Seeing the 4 Reincarnation Realm experts take out a divine artifact, the crowd was shocked. Lin Feng knew that it was impossible to rely on his own strength to escape from these people. Even if he used up all the deity liquid, he wouldn't be able to fight against 4 people. Lin Feng didn't hesitate and directly charged towards the palace. The 4 Rebirth Realm experts took out their divine artifacts and charged towards Lin Feng. Suddenly, the palace and the sky swept out millions of rays of divine light. The dazzling divine light covered the sky as if a divine sun had descended. Almost everyone couldn't open their eyes. When the light dissipated, the huge palace and Lin Feng had disappeared without a trace. Damn it, we let him escape again! The 4 Rebirth Realm experts roared in anger. They had failed again and again, making them feel extremely sullen. They were so angry that their bodies trembled. Among the 4 of them, Song Mingyu was the most depressed. He had wanted to kill Lin Feng outside the battlefield of geniuses for his treasures, but the Peacock's sacred lord, who was protecting Lin Feng, had chopped off one of his arms. Now that he was about to capture Lin Feng, he wanted to torture Lin Feng and make Lin Feng suffer a fate worse than death. In the blink of an eye, Lin Feng had successfully escaped. Song Mingyu waved the dark hell sword and slashed out with sword chi. 20 miles away from the City of Eternity, a 10,000-meter-tall mountain was split in half by Song Mingyu's sword. The mountain collapsed and the earth shook violently as if there was an earthquake. Chapter 1235. The palace shuttled through the air. This treasure was not simple at all. It was magnificent and beautiful. These beautiful women were all servants. They were all beautiful and alluring. Moreover, they wore revealing clothes. When they saw Lin Feng, their gazes became frivolous, as if they were deliberately trying to seduce Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng turned a blind eye to them. It was as if he was walking through a field of flowers, but not a single leaf touched him. Lin Gongzi, our madam is already waiting for you in the inner hall. A tall and charming woman wearing only a transparent veil walked over. Her body emitted a faint fragrance. It was unknown if it was the fragrance that was spread on her body, or if it was the fragrance from her body. Lin Feng nodded and said, "Fairy, please lead the way." He, I'm not a fairy. I'm just a servant," the tall and charming woman said with a smile. She led the way in front, her slender waist swaying back and forth. Even the way she walked was filled with seduction. There were women everywhere in this palace, and they were all beauties. However, Lin Feng was the only man. However, Lin Feng vaguely had the urge to escape this palace. He felt that this cave of beauties was a hero's grave. He really should not continue to stay here. However, when he thought about how the other party had helped him, even if he had to leave, he should at least say thank you. That was why Lin Feng did not immediately leave. There were many palaces, and there were at least 10 beauties shuttling back and forth in each palace. The beauties looked at Lin Feng with passionate, bold, and fiery gazes. Compared to the conservative female cultivators outside, the women here were a bit too open. It was obvious that they were teasing him. This made Lin Feng secretly raise his guard. Under the guidance of the tall and charming woman, Lin Feng entered a palace. Inside the palace, there was a beautiful woman wearing a pink veil. She was filled with an alluring aura as she lay on a white jade bed. When she saw Lin Feng arrive, she walked down barefoot. "I never thought that I would meet Lin Gongzi here." The beautiful woman's bewitching eyes looked at Lin Feng as she walked over step by step. "I never thought that I would see you here, Madam Qi." Lin Feng cupped his fists. This beautiful woman wearing a pink chiffon dress was the owner of Desire Island, Madam Qi. It was widely rumored that she was a promiscuous woman who had slept with countless men. When Lin Feng was at the #1 cultivator gathering area in the East Sea, he saw Yang Buping and Hu Qianlai fighting fiercely in order to have a night with Madame Qi. In the end, Hu Qianlai won and entered Madame Qi's carriage. They did it in broad daylight without any scruples. Of course, Lin Feng didn't have any special feelings for Madame Qi. How a woman chose to live her life was her freedom. Lin Feng was not a sanctimonious gentleman, so he would not accuse Madame Qi of being immoral and promiscuous. In fact, before this, Madame Qi was just a stranger to Lin Feng. Madame Qi said, "Don't you think that we are fated to meet?" Madame Qi walked over to Lin Feng's side and stretched out her hand, gently caressing Lin Feng's chest. However, Lin Feng avoided her touch. Lin Feng wouldn't accuse Madame Qi of doing such things. However, Lin Feng didn't want to have any physical contact with a woman like Madame Qi. If it was just chatting or talking about cooperation, it wouldn't be a problem. As for other things, Lin Feng definitely wouldn't allow intimate relations between a man and a woman. Although Lin Feng wasn't obsessed with cleanliness, he still couldn't accept a woman who had slept with countless men. Madame Qi smiled. "You're really sensitive, young master," Lin Feng said. "It's just that men and women shouldn't touch each other, and I already have a lover, so I've always kept myself clean. I definitely can't betray the person I love." After giving this reason, Lin Feng couldn't help but admire himself for being so quick-witted. This reason was really perfect and impeccable. Madame Qi smiled and said, "Do you think I don't understand men like you? You say one thing, but you do another behind my back. Many men say that they are loyal to love, but in reality, they have countless women behind their backs. Lin Gongzi, don't you think I'm right?" Lin Feng didn't plan on discussing this matter with Madame Qi, so he said, "Thank you for your help, Madame Qi. I will remember this favor and will definitely repay you in the future. I still have matters to attend to, so I can't stay for long. When we meet again in the future, I will personally invite you to a banquet and properly repay you." Madame Qi said, "Young master, you have matters to attend to, so I shouldn't keep you here. However, before you leave, may I ask you something?" Lin Feng nodded and said, "Madam, there's no harm in asking." Madame Qi asked, "Young master, are you going to the Spirit Array Master Temple?" Madame Qi had a lot of power in the Eastern Sea, and she might even have spies in the Eastern Sea's Spirit Array Master Guild. Therefore, Lin Feng wasn't surprised that Madame Qi knew that he was going to the Spirit Array Master Temple. After all, most of the higher-ups in the Eastern Sea's Spirit Array Master Guild knew that he was going to the Spirit Array Master Temple to meet the four ancestors. Therefore, Lin Feng simply nodded and said, "That's right, I'm going to the Spirit Array Master Temple. What a coincidence. I'm also going to the Spirit Array Master Temple. We're going the same way. Does young master mind going with me?" Madame Qi's seductive eyes looked at Lin Feng. "That doesn't seem very convenient, does it?" Lin Feng said. Madame Qi said, "There's nothing between us. Could it be that young master is afraid of others gossiping? Could it be that young master is worried that you won't be able to control yourself if you're with me?" Lin Feng said with a wry smile. "That's not it. Since we're going the same way, there's no harm in going together. We'll go directly to the Great Eastern Ancient City and take the space-time wormhole." Madame Qi said. "All right." Lin Feng nodded. "Nian Yi, take young master to rest." Madame Qi said. "Yes, madam." The tall and charming woman responded and then said, "Lin Gongzi, please follow this servant." Lin Feng nodded. After bidding farewell to Madame Qi, he followed the servant girl named Nian Yi to a room next to Madame Qi's. Arriving at the room, Lin Feng smiled bitterly. The rooms here were decorated in a pink feminine style. As a man, he was really not used to it. Lin Feng rubbed his nose and said, "Miss Nian Yi, I wonder if you can give me another room. A simpler room would be best." Chu Nianyi giggled and said, "Young master, we don't have any men here, and this pink style is Madame's favorite style. Therefore, all the rooms in the palace are decorated in this style. Young master can only temporarily make do with it." Lin Feng nodded helplessly. Chunyanni said. Then this servant won't disturb young master's rest. This servant will take her leave first. If there's anything, young master can call this servant. For the next few days, this servant will take care of young master's life. Thank you, Miss Nian. Lin Feng thanked her. Young master, you're too kind. Chunyanni bowed slightly to Lin Feng and then left. At night, Madame Chi set up a banquet and invited Lin Feng to attend. When he arrived at the banquet hall, dozens of dancers were already dancing. All of them were as beautiful as fairies. Any one of these women was a peerless beauty in the world, but now, they had all been taken in by Madame Chi and became her servants. Lin Feng had a feeling that Madame Chi had groomed so many beautiful women for some unspeakable purpose. Chapter 1236. Lin Feng sat down next to Madame Chi. Madame Chi raised her cup and smiled. This is 100-flower wine brewed from fresh flowers that I personally plucked. Have a taste and see how it tastes. Lin Feng nodded and took a sip. He didn't find anything wrong with the wine, and he wondered to himself, am I overthinking things? In reality, Lin Feng had always been very cautious, as he felt that Madame Chi wasn't a simple person. However, Madame Chi hadn't done anything to the wine, which made Lin Feng feel a little apologetic towards her. After all, she had helped him. Yet he still doubted Madame Chi. Good wine. Lin Feng nodded. After spending so much time with the old drunkard, Lin Feng knew a little about wine. This 100-flower wine was mellow and fragrant, and it was indeed a rare wine. Chunyanni knelt next to Lin Feng like an obedient maid and poured a cup for him. She smiled and said, Lin Gongzi, you're really something. This 100-flower wine was brewed by Madame Chi using hundreds of exotic flowers and 76 precious ingredients. Madame Chi can't even bear to drink it herself, yet she's treating you with it today. Lin Feng replied. Madame Chi is really considerate. I'm ashamed to accept it. Madame Chi smiled and said, Good wine should be tasted with like-minded people. Only then will you be able to appreciate its flavor. Madame Chi, are you saying that we're like-minded people? Lin Feng smiled at Madame Chi. In some ways, I think so. Madame Chi smiled. Lin Feng smiled but didn't say anything. Instead, he looked at the beautiful dancers. Madame Chi smiled and asked, Lin Gongzi, what do you think of my dancers? Lin Feng nodded and said, Whether it's their faces or their dancing skills, they're all first-rate. Madame really knows how to enjoy life. She actually trained so many beautiful dancers. I think that any one of them would be able to become the star of Wanhua Brothel if they went there. Madame Chi smiled and said, It seems that young master is quite familiar with Myriad Flower House. Could it be that young master often goes to Myriad Flower House? Previously you said that you wanted to keep yourself clean for the sake of your lover. Now, it seems that your words are going to fall apart. Lin Feng replied. I have a friend who's the holy maiden of the Myriad Flower Pavilion, so I've been there a few times. Oh? Myriad Flower Pavilion has 12 holy maidens. May I know which one you are referring to? Madame Chi smiled. Let's not talk about it, Lin Feng said. Madame Chi smiled coquettishly and said, Is she a confidante? Is that why you want to keep it a secret? Lin Feng said, That's not it. It's just that I don't think it's good to talk about my friends behind their backs. Madame Chi didn't dwell on this topic. She looked at Lin Feng and smiled. Young master, are you interested in any of my dancers? They're all virgins. If you're interested in any of them, you can take them back and enjoy them to your heart's content. Lin Feng shook his head and said, I don't have such thoughts. You don't have such thoughts because they're not charming enough. Madame Chi smiled and looked at Chunyanni, who was kneeling beside Lin Feng and serving him. She said, Nienny, raise your head. Chunyanni didn't dare to go against Madame Chi's words. She raised her head and said, Nienny has been by my side for many years. She's not inferior to those goddesses outside. Now that she's taking care of you, how about I give Nienny to you? Hearing Madame Chi's words, Chunyanni's delicate body trembled slightly. Lin Feng said. Madam, you're exaggerating. As I said before, I've always been a clean person. If you want to continue talking about women, I can only take my leave. Hee hee hee. Madam Chi giggled. Madam Chi laughed as she replied, I was just joking with you, sir, so please don't misunderstand. Lin Feng smiled and said, I was overthinking and misunderstood you. I hope you don't blame me. Madam Chi said, Then you should punish yourself with 3 cups of wine. All right, I'll punish myself with 3 cups of wine. Lin Feng raised his cup and drank the wine in it. He didn't know how much wine he had drunk that night. He was drowsy. Lin Feng had the feeling that 2 soft bodies were supporting him back to his room. When Lin Feng woke up, he felt as if his head had split open. It was extremely painful. He opened his eyes and looked around in confusion. The room was still a little dim, as it was still night. Lin Feng wanted to get up, but he found that his body was limp, as if he didn't have any strength left. Do you feel sore and powerless now? Madam Chi smiled as she walked in. She was wearing a pink gauze dress, and she directly went to Lin Feng's bed. Lin Feng asked, Did you do something to me? She laid down beside Lin Feng and caressed Lin Feng's face. She smiled and said, How could I bear to do anything to you? Lin Feng grumbled, I can't even move, and you're telling me you didn't do anything to me? Madam Chi looked as if she was about to cry, and she said in an aggrieved tone, You drank too much wine, sir. I was worried that you wouldn't be able to rest well, so I lit some Buddha fat for you. It's refined from the body of a Buddhist monk, and it has the effect of calming the mind and helping you sleep. It can also help a cultivator comprehend the great Tao. A small bottle costs more than 100,000 top-grade spirit stones, and I'm usually reluctant to use it. Now that I've lit something as precious as Buddha fat for you, you're even complaining about it. I'm so sad. Forget it, I won't fall for your tricks. What's wrong with my body? Why can't I move? Lin Feng asked in a low voice. The 100 Flowers wine is a little special. If it comes into contact with the energy from the burning Buddha fat, it will make a cultivator feel weak and powerless. This state will only last for 1 night, and its main purpose is to help the cultivator sleep well. Don't worry, sir. Since Madam also wants this one to have a good night's sleep, then please leave this one's room as soon as possible. Otherwise, if someone sees this, it won't be good if gossip spreads. Lin Feng said. Ha ha. Madam Chi suddenly laughed. What are you laughing about? Lin Feng asked, puzzled. Young master, do you really think I'm a promiscuous woman? Madam Chi looked at Lin Feng and asked. Lin Feng didn't answer because he knew that Madam Chi didn't really want to know his answer. I said before that there are some things that you and I have similar interests in. Does Sir still remember? Madam Chi looked at Lin Feng and asked. I still can't figure out what interests you and I have the same interests. Lin Feng said. Sir, look at the 400 or 500 women in this palace. Which one of them isn't a peerless beauty? Madam Chi said with a smile. Lin Feng looked at Madam Chi in shock and exclaimed, You, like women? You actually have the mirror polishing technique.